I think he plays Conif usually, so that's kind of interesting. Hello, sir. I'll probably do ref put first. He wants to practice a build, you see, so. Anyway, ask away if you got questions. I'm ready to answer. For now, it looks like he wants to practice some build orders, so we're gonna let him do that. How do you play Coalition? It's a good question. There's kind of like 3 ways, I guess, to do it. 1 second. In my opinion, you can either, oh yeah, you too. Yeah, so in my opinion, you can either go for eco starts, which is quite easy to do. So I feel like it's a pretty good build for beginners. Maybe I can show you one of those after this. Or you can go for AV pushes, which are sort of designed to contain your opponent. So you push out across the field early with these units, but your goal actually is to expand faster than them. And then the other thing you can do is like LAV rushes and stuff like that. Or you can try funny sort of off-meta air stuff and whatever. Seems to me that those are like the, yeah, no problem. Seems to me that those are like the most tried and tested things that we do so far. So yeah, I'll show you some of those builds after this then. I will have to preface it by saying I'm not the best at, oh, you're in class right now. Nice. I'll have to preface whatever I talk about with builds by saying that I'm really not the best at that in particular, but I'll still try my best with them. I'm better a lot, like, by a large margin at, like, Gaussian builds and stuff. If Agan comes onto the stream, I think he's gonna know a lot of better ones. And I think maybe Discara might show up at some point, too. Alright, well, I'll see you when you're back then. Enjoy your class. I see Sinistro's online. Hello, sir. What would you have learned? In fact, no, what? I'm making a mistake. Let's not do this. Ah, I see. Well, thanks for joining in anyway. Oh no, we have an idle salvager. Maybe I'll talk about how to make sure you don't have any of those at some point. Probe snipe? Not quite. That would have been quite nice, but not to be. It's some kind of a rush from him though, so I feel like we shouldn't overbuild. Since the last one that he pushed, I think that was sometime yesterday, so this is actually my first game from it, but it probably won't matter too much. Basically, from what I understand, he made the carrier rotation a lot easier to pull off, which was nice because that was something that was really bothering us. We call it washing machine carrier when it just like does something of its own accord, you know? So he fixed that. Oh hey, it's A-game. Okay, so you can just tell me directly if this is true or not. I believe that the changes to the Savant carrier range were actually just like bug fixes, really, right? Like it was supposed to have this range from the beginning, but for some reason it just kind of didn't. Nice Osu, by the way. That seems like that game's probably really good for learning, like, just, I don't know, accurate mouse clicking, which is something I'm very bad at. Oh, I see, I see. So you just kind of forgot, like... Okay, that makes sense. And this is because of that stupid thing where, like, we couldn't choose what the range of the railguns was, right? Because they wanted to... They wanted to keep, moving at, like, some certain distance away. Yeah. Remember your jetpacks, kids. They're very good. We might lose a self here, but this is probably okay. Yeah, down goes one. Do we get this? I think we do. I think once you get armor 2, you're really very hard to kill by LAVs and stuff, because that one not only gives you armor, but it also protects you against, like, it gives you more hull integrity as well, so I think that's a very worthwhile upgrade. And it's a good thing I got it, because holy goodness, he's coming in hot. There's a lot of LAV. No fun. It's a funny joke if you get it. At this rate, we probably want to get defenses 3. I'm also probably overbuilding on salves here. We should really be dealing with threats to the economy first. In fact, you know what? Let's, yeah, I think that's where he wants to go now, is he wants to go over to that side. It appears we are at fleet cap. Okay, now I'm not sure what he wants to do. There's always the threat of air as well, which I'm kind of not aware of right now. Oh, am I overbuilding? I am. Ugh. Okay, let's actually go for interceptors here. Because the threat of his air is still real. This is a very kind of tidy way, I would say, of dealing with that. Maybe we can get 3 PC before air, though, which is always nice. Because once you get air tech, you have some problems where you're not able to build PCs anymore, so unlocking your carrier becomes really hard. So this would be kind of a nice way of getting around that. I just want to check for his air here. That's what I'm doing. Uh-oh, it's railguns. That's gonna be very good for us, probably, because we have air. I probably don't even need to check anymore, but like this guy's dead anyway, so we'll see. Maybe. Yeah, we will. Okay. You shouldn't fly the probe this close, because he knew that this guy was here. You can see, obviously, that the thing that tells you that I have air tech. So that feels like a mistake to me. Anyway, carrier's unlocked now. Now, I've killed myself many times against Phoenix Heo doing this type of thing, but it should be okay. What I mean by that is I'll push out a little bit too early, and then suddenly he'll kill me with like ACs or whatever. But that, with this number of LAVs on the field, that doesn't seem to be what No Fun has got in mind. So let's just get some rail kills. The only problem here is that LAVs have actually kind of decent anti-air, so we have to be careful that we don't get killed by them. Also, he still has that base runner up, so he can put down turrets and whatever. No, don't waste your missiles on that. Okay, yeah, we should probably just stalk. Oh, okay. No Fun wanted to, like, try out some builds here, so I'm sort of doing one-on-one with him right now. But after this, people wanted to see some coalition build orders, so we'll be getting into some of that. Okay, these guys are, like, right on top of these rails, so we want to push in here. And then we're sort of going to open up to questions, basically. But it kind of depends on how much involvement we get. Obviously, if there isn't a whole lot of that going on, we'll mostly just do games, I suppose. But my goal is that we have mostly like questions being asked and answered and stuff. So we'll see. Hey, it's you. Tell me, friend, what are your questions about patch? Oh, actually, A-Game, it's good that you're here because I want to show off some coalition build orders, but I'm not sure if I know them terribly well, so I'm gonna need to have you sort of like confirm that I'm actually doing them right. Also, something you should never do is float like I am. I know it's disgusting, but I know like Galzian one's pretty good now, but like the coalition ones I don't know them well enough to feel like I'm not a fraud. Why is Galzian OP? Okay, well, that's a complicated question. Oh, you don't? Oh, shoot. Meanwhile, Sinistro, what you said is a very good idea too, I would agree. I'll try to do some of that as well. This looks like pretty much game, though. I think what No Fun was trying to do was LAV spam, so maybe let's, it's No Fun. So maybe let's start with that, A-Game. I don't know if you know that terribly well. But yeah, man, assault chips are just trash, you know? I know I'm the one who used to be saying that, so it's sort of like double ironic that I would make fun of it now, but like, whatever. Okay, his carrier's actually probably decently powered up here, but I don't know. I don't think he can really damage me too much. Another thing I want to cover in the stream, if we can find some time for it, is like things that are... Oh yeah, no problem, dude. No problem at all. Another thing that I want to cover is like things that are different in patch that we weren't able to cover in the other video because they're sort of niche, you know? Just give people some like hidden knowledge and whatever. Let's pull a double heal here. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Oh dang, that's quite good. I didn't even really advertise properly, so I'm rather surprised. Ah! Stupid Soban. They put down an A8 right there. That's interesting. So one thing you'll notice, he only has power 0 and armor here, so these assault chips are actually doing like actual damage to this carrier. That's something you've got to know about Soban and patch, is that their carrier is good now, but it is also quite weak at power 0 because they only have 15 armor. You can see you just put armor in right there at the end. But it's a little bit elementary, I suppose. Or academic, that's the term.
The heretics have been repelled.
So let's go through and show some Coalition build orders. I think probably No Fun will be interested in this as well. Can we do this in skirmish or should we do it in multiplayer? We can probably do this in multiplayer, so... Oh no. We need to make our own lobby for this, though. No, we have a better name for this. Oh, I don't know how to spell it, though. We'll just call it build orders. Let's see. I don't necessarily, like, need an opponent, really, to show these, but, like... Yeah, I guess we'll just go without one. We'll just use, like, an AI. Okay, A-game. I'm gonna try my best here, but I'm probably gonna make a lot of mistakes. Just walk me through... Okay, yeah, that'd be good, actually. Hop on in. Walk me through, like, LAV first, then. Let's try that one first, because it's something that you really couldn't do in vanilla. I think it's probably, like, the most, new build order, if you know what I mean. Yes. Hey, it's Serum. Hello, my guy. Looks like No Fun is going to play against Dijon right now, and then he cooks food, so he'll be back later. So we'll just go ahead and do this first. Okay, and when I retire the base runner, I'm actually going to get enough RUs for the, I'm actually going to get enough RUs for the carrier production upgrade, right? So I'm not going to need to... I'm not going to need to, like, mine RUs until we already have that on the way. Oh, okay, so we need, like, a little quick drop then. That sounds doable, though. Alright. Oh, yeah, because it gives, like, 37 or something, right? So it's, like, about as much as you need, but just, like, a little bit off. Yeah, sure. I agree with that. And if mine is like a total disaster, we can watch the replay too, so that might be nice also. Although I will say, I'm not sure if this is actually a good thing to do against other Coalition players, but obviously this is a bit in a vacuum. We're just testing this, you know, showing off how it works. Okie dokie. In fact, I think in the CVG matchup, both of the factions have 3 builds that are really kind of meta. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. They have like a rush build, they have a contain build where they're trying to get more economy by slowing the opponent down, and then they have like an eco build, right? I'm not sure if that exists in the mirror matchups though, and I think it's something that we haven't really explored very much so far. Especially CVC, I have no idea how that's going to play off. It's not exactly my problem because I don't play that matchup, you know what I mean? But that's also true, yeah. I mean, I don't want it to sound like it's very boring, you know what I mean? Especially because really in vanilla there's only one build you can do anyway, but... Yeah, well that's what I meant by eco. Like 6-up basically, and for Gaussian they do ref mode first. Oh no, I overmined on RUs. That's okay though. I've already messed up. We have the RUs now for carry production upgrades, so that's probably what we need. Okay, so now we have LAV fab done, and the production upgrade is about to finish too, so now we can start really spamming a lot. Maybe this could be optimized a bit more by getting this faster, but I'm not sure. What percent of players plays on patch in 1v1? I think almost all of them, but I'm not totally sure. That's a good question. At any rate, it's what we do for competitive at this point, so... But I'm not sure, like, how many people are playing it that I'm not aware of, you know what I mean? Anyway, just a bit of background on this build, and then I'll go into the replay and show you, like, how it was done, I suppose. But, you can get the carrier production upgrade now in patch before you've gotten railgun fab and AAV fab and all that stuff. And so what that allows you to do now is interesting builds where you can spam LAVs like this by basically getting that production upgrade early, and then, you know, having just a very large amount of LAVs out on the field. This would sound terrible if it was happening in vanilla, because obviously we know that like Garm style was all about just having tons of LAVs and whatever, but it's not like that. Because the LAVs are not going to win you the game on their own now, but it allows you to contain your opponent really nicely, and leads to some pretty cool rushes too. If you can transition from here into AVs or into rails or something like that. But I guess I'll go into the replay and show like the steps to do it now. By the way, Sinister, it is quite interesting that it's not showing on Twitch that anyone's playing DOK. I feel a little bit slighted. But, you know, what you gonna do? Alright, so let's check this out. Oh, now it is. Hey! Maybe there's just a bit of delay, huh? That's good to hear. Oof! Well, you're probably right, Orb, but hey, a man can dream, you know? A man can dream. Just wait until Homeworld 3 is pulling like 20,000 viewers or something. That'll be the day. Whoa. Excuse me. I've got that coronavirus, you know what I mean? No, probably not actually. Well said. So here's the build then. The first thing we do is we put 4 onto CUs. But you see that I actually have 1 on RUs right now. When we retire our base runner, we're going to get 37 RUs back, and we need 40 to get the production upgrade. So just keep that in mind. You are actually going to want to mine just a little bit of RU, and then drop this guy off. And you can see I'm a little bit late on this. I took too long to drop him off, but it's kind of okay. And then during this time, I retire the base runner, and I start making salvagers to go to the second base, where we're going to long haul CUs. I queued up 1 salvager, and it was finished by the time the base runner retire happened, so then I clicked on LAV fab. I suppose technically you could probably get this a little bit faster actually if you got it before building this salvager here, but I feel like it's not like a huge difference. In the GVG timings, it actually is important to get, you know, sand skimmer fab before you start making salvagers, but I don't think it's so in this build. It's probably correct to get it first before so. Okay, I take it back. A-Game probably knows better than me, so we'll say first thing you should do is click on this. Get like 3 RUs from this patch here, and then drop it off, retire the base runner, and then build 2 salvagers to long distance mine from the second. And then if you do a bit of quick dropping here, you can get the production upgrade a little bit faster. That's not, of course, like necessary. And then I also did a quick drop to get this this drop here, or this rec opener. I guess you're right. Yeah, the LDM salvagers are not going to give you that much CU, so it's probably better to get the LAV fab before that. And then one thing I think you want to keep in mind whenever you do builds like this, which are very heavily focused on like on a CU heavy unit or something, I don't have to get RUs to build LAVs like this, right? So it's very tempting to just not have RU cells at all. Oh man, my carry production is a lot faster than you. Anyway, yes, it's very tempting to just not have any RU salvagers at all here, but eventually you're going to want to get one of these techs, right? And they all cost RUs. And so it's good to, at some point, begin getting RU salvagers as well. And I think for me, I started queuing them up once I hit like fleet cap 25 or something. That's probably a bit too late, to be honest, but just keep that in mind. At some point in a build like this, you're going to want to start teching into RUs as well. Because then you're able to transition into AVs and railguns or fighter and gunship or something like that. So, oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about this. I think that was used in some. I believe this was used in some games actually in Jaraci Cup 4 or something where I think Descara did it. He like, or no, I remember actually watching a video of mine where I say like, man, I wonder if he made like 5 just to show off to his opponent that he was like not getting the second production slot so that he would like sort of mind game him, and you were like, no dude, I just totally misrallied. And then I was like, oh, well, you should probably still do this anyway, it's a cool idea. Yeah, I remember this now. This was on Kartoba, I believe. I can't remember who your opponent was though. It might have been Descara, but it was a cool moment anyway. Let me try this build one more time then. I'm going to try to get it sort of optimal if I can. But yeah, that was one of those things that we discovered just like totally on accident. I remember this now. Actually, the probes are a really good way to scout. But the LAVs are more trying to be used to sort of contain our opponent. Maybe I'll show you later in the stream how it's used sort of against Galzian. I think we mentioned before, this is not actually great to do in a CVC matchup like this. But the LAVs are good for doing damage actually. And they slow down your opponent a lot too, so even if you can't get a lot of damage done with them, you often are able to expand faster than them onto like your second base and then your third. So that's kind of the idea there. If you're doing LAV first or if you're doing AAV first, you want to scout with LAVs. But if you're going to do support cruiser first, you're going to want to actually scout with your probe. And I think I'll show that in just a second too. You like the AV AS spread in the last game to contain the skims? Yes. Yeah, it's important to make sure when you're fighting against like other armored units, you want to when you're fighting against other armored units, you want to make sure you're sort of bunched up because otherwise you're going to get killed, right? But if you're fighting against other you know, units that you counter, you want to split up. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. I did a bad thing. I'll explain what happened in a moment. Oh no, I did 2 bad things. Okay, we should probably restart, lol. Sorry, I'm trying to talk while I'm build ordering. It's not good with me. That was pretty funny. Don't worry, I'll do it better this time. You have the stream up. Okay, that's probably good. Wow, we have a lot of viewers right now. This is crazy. Thanks for tuning in, by the way, guys. I know I'm doing this for you, but I'm also doing it for me, so it's quite nice to have people here. 11, really? That's quite a lot, especially for this time of day. That makes my soul warm. By the way, Orb, the way that you were playing last time I saw you, I feel like this kind of build is really good for you. Because I feel like you were quite good at using LAVs. Okay, so here's the situation, boys. We get LAV Fab first. We retire the Space Runner. We don't need many RUs, just like 3. I got 4, but that's going to be okay. Then once the Base Runner retire happens, we start making salvagers, sorry, to go on to the other side. And then once we can get up to 400 CU, we're going to get the carrier production upgrade. This is LAV spam. It's a coalition opener that's only really possible on patch. So you see, I'm going to do another little quick drop here so that I can get the production upgrade faster. So we have that on the way at the 29:15 mark. That's probably pretty good. I think this is actually a little slower than last time, but it probably is because we're doing a little bit more focus on these like LDM guys. I quick drop a lot, by the way. You don't have to do that, but it does make the build a little bit faster, so I always think it's a good idea, but it's not required by any means. Yeah, that's what I just noticed as well, A-Game. That happened to me too. But I think it's probably okay, because if we're going to get 5 out and then get our salvagers up, we're probably not going to care too much. Everyone has different opinions, by the way, on like when you should send these guys out into the field. Like me, I send them out in a stream like this, and I just want to contact my enemy as fast as I can. But a lot of players will sort of hide their LAVs and then like come out in some sort of dramatic moment where they have like 5 of them together. But at any rate, it's important that we get 5 and then we start building up our eco here. Because like I mentioned while watching the replay last time, we're eventually going to want to tech to something else. So if we don't get any RUs, we're going to really wish we had. And this is also going to allow us to sort of spoof the build by showing him, look, we have 5 LAVs, which means it's probably like a VFAB or something like that. And then all of a sudden we come out with all these other ones that we're building right now, and it's going to be sort of like a bit of a mind game. Oh yeah, that's probably true. If you see one PC, I think this is probably the wrong way to go. Unless you're like quite sure that you're going to run against like railguns, but if you see like one PC coming out, you need to kind of stop doing this. Because this is a build that's going to work against like your opponent going economy. But if he goes for a rush, you're probably going to have some bad times. Yeah, you're correct, Orb, actually. That's happened in games before. If the PC gets really aggressive, sometimes you can just kill it. Oh, here's another thing RUs are good for, is getting the assault pack. I kind of forgot about that. But if you don't kill that... Oh my gosh, we're dying. We're dying! If you don't kill that PC early, and then assault chips pop out, you're going to really have a bad time, so... Yeah, no, we're not really playing this match. We can stop now. Actually, I think I'll check out the replay and just make sure I'm doing things properly. But I think this is probably the best way to do it, because we don't need that carrier production upgrade terribly quickly. We only need it, we only need it, you know, after like we've made our 2 salvagers kind of, so I think it being a little bit slower to get LDMs is probably good here. Whoa, hiccups. Tell me, A-Game, is it actually like a decent build to make 5 LAVs and then go into... Make 5 LAVs and then go into Sport Cruiser? Or is that not good? Okay. So that's, I suppose, what we're trying to make it look like, huh? Oh, yeah, because of, like, BD stuff. That makes sense to me. Knief! Oh, I'm trying to allocate power. I can't do that. Meanwhile, what's A-Game doing? Looks like A-Game and I are doing pretty much the same thing here. My voice is getting raspy. It's kind of strange. Although I see that you actually have salvagers coming out before me. Is it because you like moved into the base runner to try and did you move into the base runner to try to make the retire happen a little bit faster? That's kind of what I'm expecting. Although my carrier production is a lot faster than yours, which is also a little bit strange to me. Maybe I'm just better, huh? Did you like overmine on RUs? No, only by 1. It's curious. Anyway, I think this is pretty much the best way to do this build. Now, A-Game is asking whether these LDMs are even worth it, and I suppose I'm not sure. It depends. Do I start, like, floating CUs later on in this build? Because if that's the case, then we didn't need these guys after all. Not really. Yeah, CUs drop 50, and RUs drop 20. It's true, but if we're planning on expanding up to our second base, we're going to be happy that we have them already as well. Exactly, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. I suppose this takes some optimization still. We're not exactly sure what the best way to do this is, but I feel like those LDM guys are still pretty good. Let's move on to another build order. I agree. Oh, someone was saying we needed a clip of something, by the way, right? A clippable showcase of how weak support cruiser weapon is. Okay, right. Although, I do actually think it'll beat, like, one assault ship sometimes. But, I don't know. We'll do this on College Teeth because it's the most memeable map for this build, but I'm thinking AV Rush. And if I recall, the way to do this is 1 on RUs, 3 on CUs. Get LAV Fab first. Then you can make 1 Salvager, and then you get right into... No, then you get AV Fab, then you make 1 Salvager, right? Yeah, you're correct. I think what people are thinking when they hear that the Sport Cruiser has like a ground weapon is that it's gonna be like you can have pushes where you just have like 12 support cruisers and they're just like killing everything. But of course it's not like that. It's a very weak weapon. Like really low DPS, extremely low. Anyway, let's do this, GLHF boy. So I'm gonna show off now the AV Rush. I've seen AV rushes before, but they often hit too late, and it's because they don't understand this this one trick that will make your AV rush a lot stronger. That being said, this is also a build that requires the BR to be retired. And I know a lot of players really like using aggressive turrets, and so keeping the base runner with you is something that maybe you can do in some scenarios, but at any rate, this will get you the fastest AAV timing. We'll see if I mess it up. I have a propensity to do bad on these build order demonstrations, but... So we get LAV Fab first once again. The base runner retires, and you can sometimes get that to happen faster if you sort of drag the carrier into it. And then I believe that what you need to do is actually save up for AV tech here and not build a salvager. I might be wrong about this. We'll see in just a moment. Uh-oh. I think I'm wrong about this. It's okay, though. Yeah, I only had 4. Okay. This is still pretty much the fastest timing, though. I just slowed down my eco by, like, half a second. It's not going to matter too much. So you see, we get the tech started about 29:15, which is quite early. And then at this point, you can start making more salvagers. It's only going to be on RUs, though, so I think some players will opt to just make LAVs at this point already. But I like to start mining, you know, like fully saturate my main base here. And then, in fact, get one LDM miner over here onto the second. And then usually when this salvager finishes, I'll have time to make like one LAV as well. And this LAV is good for scouting because it has a much bigger vision range than the AAVs do. Yeah, I agree with that. Probably if you're doing an all-in, you don't need any LAVs to help you, but if you're gonna just try to contain your opponent, probably an LAV is quite important here. For that vision that I was talking about before. And I'm starting to think now, maybe it was good to build this LAV before we got long-distance salves, for that same reason that we want to scout the PC. We'll see, though. So AVs are coming out now at the 28-minute mark, which is quite early, or the 2-minute mark. We generally use this clock instead of that one, because for some reason this one's invisible on replays, so... We see our opponent has AVs, so probably at this point we would just back away, but, you know, for the sake of the build order, we'll just kind of keep moving out as if he didn't. And then one thing that's really important is that we get heavy vehicles armor 1 here. Because if we don't have that, we're not really going to be able to fight very effectively. You can see he's actually already got it. But we're going to have it just in time here, so... So this is just fine. Yeah, that makes sense to me too. Maybe another reason to sort of stack up more RU salvagers here than otherwise. But yeah, if you don't get armor 1, you're really not going to perform well versus AVs or versus assault ships, and so it's quite important to get that tech. So that's probably the like the fastest way to get AVs. Like I said, maybe you want to... Oh gosh, this is a mistake. Maybe you want to keep them there. Like maybe you want to keep the base runner to like put down turrets and stuff. But if you're not doing that, this is definitely the build to do AAV rushes. It's also worth noting, by the way, if you ever plan on doing like skimmer rushes or something like that, and you come across this, you're gonna be having a bad time. So, it's very good to know how to do this build because it shuts down a lot of things. It shuts down a lot of like kind of meme strats that people can pull off. And another thing, a lot of players who will go ref mode first, they're not really ready to like deal with this either. Alright, Sport Cruiser, let's see what you got, man. Oof. Did you want to like test it against multiple LAVs or like just one? Okay. Yeah. Now, interestingly, it was actually always true, even in vanilla, that one LAV couldn't kill a sport cruiser for this very reason. And one sand skimmer could do it, but he would have to... If one sand skimmer was going to do it, he would have to, like, pull back and then come back in. But at this point, I think it's pretty much impossible for, like, one LAV and one sand skimmer to kill a sport cruiser. Like, it's just not feasible. I don't think that's bad, though. Plus, all these people were complaining that Galzine was OP, but now, you know... Now Coalition has got something, too, so... It's also worth noting that AVs are gonna just chunk this thing. Like, it's not gonna... How do you say? It's kind of like in Remastered, actually, if you've played that. Oh, it doesn't have point defense railguns. Well, that's a good idea. Actually, let's cancel these two. So we'll just come in with 8 LAVs here. It's kind of like in Remastered. Your flagship is not going to kill like interceptors or whatever, but it will affect interceptor fights when they're going on underneath the flagship, right? It's kind of like a similar dynamic, I think, with the support cruiser. We should actually get closer. We have better accuracy the closer up we are. That's interesting too. It looks like the support cruiser actually splits its fire between 2 targets. I wonder if that means we do better if we're like on this side or something like that, but I don't know. Anyway, as you can see, it does do damage, right? It killed 1, it nearly killed 2 others, but like, it's not gonna protect you against, it's not gonna protect you against, whatchamacallits, LAVs or whatever. 8 LAVs cost more than a support cruiser. Well, I guess we could do it with even resources. It would be 6 LAVs, I would say. Yeah, I didn't know that either. So I think what that means is that if I attack you from like one side rather than from in front, you can only do half the damage or something like that. I'm not sure though. Anyway, I'm sure if we tested equal resources though, which would be 6 or maybe 7 LAVs, I'm not sure exactly how the math works, we would still win against this SC. We could test that real quick if you want to see it. He wanted to see equal resources, which would be, I think, 6 LAVs, right? And I'm curious to see if we can neutralize one of the weapons by moving on this side. No, it looks like it shoots through the support cruisers, so... yeah. Well, Vet 1 only gives sensor bonuses, so... Although... this is actually getting pretty close to the wire here. Oh man, oh jeez. Ooh. Come on, Geoff, you can do it. Oh my gosh. Ah, we died. Rip. Well, that's interesting. Oh, your veterancy saved you. You're joking. Oh no. That's hilarious, man. Uh-oh. Stream had a bit of issue, but it looks like it's getting better. That's alright. Golly, man, the veterancy bonus stops me from winning this fight. That's just hilarious. Well, let's just march into A-Game's base and kill all of his stuff real quick. That'd be kind of fun. Oh, okay. He actually wants to do serious things. Let's see, what does he say? Like 2 upgrades and LV. I'll get both of the armor ones, because armor is going to make a huge difference in this kind of fight. Yeah, now it's a sciencing stream. Well, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. I mentioned this in my patch review video, by the way, but the armor upgrades actually increase the HP as well. And as a result, I've noticed this. You will see LAVs flash blue if they get the armor upgrade. I'll wait for it to happen again. It's about like 5 seconds out here. And this is something I don't suspect A-Game can fix, but it does give you a little bit of like a visual indicator that the armor upgrade is finished. You see how they flash blue there? And the reason is because when units heal, they turn blue. This is both for Galzian units and for Coalition units, of course, like with the heal beams on something. I'll show you this real quick. Also, hello, Alex. So now the heal beam is going to activate, and he'll flash blue, whoever's getting healed by it. See that? And so technically, according to the game, when a unit increases in health, it's getting healed, and so it'll flash blue like that. So there's a bit of a visual indicator, actually, that LAVs are getting their armor upgrade. Just something to be aware of. If you want to be like a sweaty tryhard, this might be helpful to know. Okay, so this is with Armor 2 now. Yes, you can do that. I think I'll show you that in just a moment then, actually, because this would be very nice to know. Oh, the Sport Cruiser has accuracy, does it? Yeah, maybe being further away is better then. Oh yeah, this is way better. Because your received accuracy is probably about 100% on me. Wow. Anyway, as you can see, with both of the armor upgrades, we do a lot better against this. I'm actually going to agree with you, Orb. I think it might be a little bit overtuned, but like, not by much. Okay, now let's go into A-Game Space and wreck everything. And then I think I will show you on the Coalition carrier how you can scout tech, because that might be helpful as well. So currently I have AAV tech, and you can see that because this little thing here is popped up here, right? So normally a Coalition carrier is going to be flat there. It's going to look like this over that AAV module, and then when you tech it, it will open up. So let's start teching Railgun Fab, and I'll show you what that one does. Currently, this module here is down, and when Railgun Tech finishes, we're going to see that module open up. And by the way, we're just kind of owning Sport Cruisers here now, so in case you're worried that the weapon is still OP, it's not really, you know. It can't fight off those AAVs there. Yeah, I'll show it on those carriers later. Although, as I'm about to explain, the pattern is actually the same. This one on the back is always the armor unit, and this one on the side is always the rail unit. Well, that was 2 support cruisers together, actually, and they only took this guy down to like 1/3 HP, so... So here comes Rail Tech. You can see this thing here opens up. Hey, someone followed or something. Rhyme and reason. That's quite nice. So, here comes the... Oh no. Did my stream die again? Kind of. It's back up. It's back up. Anyway, here comes the railgun module. So this is how you know that your opponent has railgun tech. BRB? What does he think? He's free to leave? I didn't say you could leave A-Game. No, I'm not really doing anything that requires you anyway. But yeah, so here's railgun tech. Then fighter and gunship is starting soon. So again, notice here we see just kind of like gray slabs here. Of course, I'm actually at low texture detail because I'm trying to get like the maximum frame rate here, but support cruiser so OP. Anyway. It will look a little bit different when you do this in your game because probably you'll have like actual textures applied here, but you know. But it's whatever. This is what it looks like when strike fighters are unlocked. So you see these 3 targets open up and these 3 like launching like directional arrows open up. But additionally, on the coalition carrier, this thing here will open up. And that's because this is where gunships will go. But when you're playing against Galzian and Conf, they don't have bombers unlocked when they unlock air tech, and so this actually won't show up. It'll show up when they tech bomber fabrication. So that's a little bit of a difference there. And you'll see if I start building a strike fighter, this light here turns on. If I start building a gunship, this light here turns on. If I start building an AV... Oh yeah, there it is. I was like, nothing turns on? This light here turns on. If I start building a railgun, this light here turns on as well. So we can actually kind of like see what our opponent is building too. Although I'm not really terribly good at it, so... And then if you build a unit that comes out without having any of these techs, this light here will turn on. So that's like LAVs, base runners. Doesn't turn on the light? It should. Oh, it turns on this light. That's interesting. Support cruiser turns on that light too. That's interesting. Salvager, it looks like, doesn't turn on any light, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah, let's see what happens if we build a missile battery. But it doesn't have any tech reveal, so you won't see that. Same with battle cruisers and assault cruisers, they don't reveal tech. So you can know if your opponent has AV, you can know if he has rail, you can know if he has air, but you can't know if he has, like, say, battle cruisers or assault cruisers or something like that. And really just most techs you can't know about, like mag accelerator, you'll never know. But there is a way to know if he has his power reserves teched, right? So our carrier has got 9,000 HP right now, but if I tech power 1, it'll move up to 9,200 because each power reserve adds 200 HP to our carrier. Here's missile battery tech finished, by the way. When I start building, the bay opens up, but I don't think there's any like indicating light. So there's no tell that we're making missile batteries. And so yeah, power reserve 1 is done, so now we have 9,200 HP. And when we get power reserve 2, we're going to move up to 9,400. Yeah, I noticed that too. It doesn't have... Wait, did it? Oh my gosh. You're right. I didn't notice that. Oh my gosh, you're right. What is this? Well, it looks like not every description is blue. Like this one is white. Oh well. Power reserve 2 finished, 79,400 HP, right? So if you remember what the if you memorize what like the starting HP for every carrier is, then you're able to sort of know how much power reserve your opponent has got. You know, A-Game, if I drive an LAV up here, I'll be able to see the tech on your carrier. So maybe we can use that to like show people what it looks like on the Saban carrier. So that's where I'm headed right now. Yeah, but see, like, look, on Sport Cruiser Antier, it doesn't have that, though. My stream is kind of lagging a little bit too, but it's not so bad, so we're gonna pretend like it's okay and that nothing is happening. Probably my sister is watching The Office again on Netflix or whatever. Okay. So here's how you know that your opponent has AV tech on the Saban carrier. And like I mentioned before, the pattern is sort of the same. The module that's on the back is always the armored unit, and the module that's on the side is always the rail unit, right? This is even true on Gaussian carriers and stuff like that. So this one's on the back, so it's going to be AV tech. Before he has it, you'll know because it's just like a gray sort of blob. I mean, well, maybe it's painted actually. It might look like this, but it's not going to be up like it is right now. So he says he's teching rails right now. Also, we've completely mined out the bases, which is pretty funny. Any second now. Okay, there we go. So the module back, like, drops down and then it opens up. And we start killing some salvagers, I guess. Anyway, and then this thing comes up, and this is the rail module. So now we know he has railgun tech. And then A-Game, if you could start teching fighter and gunship. It will look pretty much the same though, right? It's gonna look like this. The difference is on the Soban carrier, there's no targets here. They actually dock here, so this like little hangar thing will open up. And then just as on coalition carriers, the landing pad will open for the fighters, or for the bombers and the gunships. So it'll look pretty much like this, but a little bit different. Does having power 5 open some hatch? No, actually. But you will be able to see the cruise missiles launching because this thing here will open up. I think, anyway. I could tech up to power 5 and then see if there's any visual indicator. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, stream died. Wait, we're back. Okay. My internet, dude. Jeez. Yeah, I thought that was the end of the stream there, but no. Because, like, the kilobits per second has been, like, occasionally dropping down to, like, less than 3,000 or something, but right there it just went straight to 0. But it came back, though. We're alive. All is well in Zion. Man, does fighter and gunship just take this long to tech? That right there is a logistics module. So you'll know what that looks like. Although that's interesting, that's actually also where the cruise missile comes out of. Yeah. Isn't that... That's where the cruise missile comes out of, right? Oh yeah. It flies out of here too. Oh my gosh, I missed air tech. Well, his air tech finished. So again, you'll see these sort of directional arrows on the carrier, but the most easy thing to look for is this target on the back here. And then also on Soban, this hangar opens up, and this is where the strike fighters dock. So that's air tech finished. Yeah, so this is interesting. This is where the cruise missile launches from, but it's also where the logistics modules launch from. It flies out of that same hole. I did not know that. That's interesting. Yeah, I certainly agree. Seems like the kind of thing. Anyway, game, did you mention people might be interested how, hey now. Did you mention people might be interested how ALMs work? Because we can show that off as well. I'll drive an AAV up here. You'll notice that it does actual damage now, so it's going to kill this AAV in like one more shot. So they actually kill units now, but what they don't do as well is stun things. So see if I like drive past them here. Yeah, it stuns me and it slows me down. But the biggest thing that it does now, I think, is really do damage. Whereas it used to be in vanilla, if you teched enough power, you could just absolutely shut things down. Like, people could not drive past because they just, like, perma-stunned you. Ah, I see. So I guess it's not actually the stun duration, it's like the fire rate that makes that less of an issue, but yeah, you get the idea. And then everything else, I believe, like their vision and stuff is the same, except that in vanilla they also have this like huge contact radius. I'm not really sure why. What that means is like, if I come back here, When I get close, you see that little ping there? This tells me that a unit is nearby, right? And in vanilla, ALMs have this gigantic radius for that. So like, my vision is here, and normally the contact radius is right next to the vision. But for for ALMs, I'd be getting contact pings like here. It's like insane. And I think that this is still kind of pretty big in patch, but it's not quite as big. Oh, vision is nerfed as well. Okay. Actually, now that you say that, I do vaguely remember people getting power 5 in ALMs and being able to see like the entire map or something. All right, here's the moment of truth. Yeah, nothing changed on the deploy module when we got the cruise missile, but when we fire it, it opens up. See that? And then the cruise missile comes out. Everyone's favorite unit. Anyway, so you do get a bit of an indication that it's launching because this thing will open up, but it's normally not good to be like looking for that during a carrier fight. I think one thing that you'll see though if you have your graphical details on higher is a big plume of smoke here, and that's kind of a good indication like, oh, he's launching a cruise missile. But as you can see, there's no indication that Power 5 is finished. Other than, of course, you can see the carrier health, right? If the Coalition carrier has 10,000 HP, he's ready to launch the missile, but if not, he doesn't have it, so... Yeah, I think you're right with that as well, Just Carrier. So the contact range, even on power 0, is, like, insanely big. I think, like, this is a normal logistics module with that much vision, and I think with LAVs, they can contact from, like, here. Even just, like, on power 0, which is just insane. Do they scale it? I thought it was, like, really high even on level 0. Oh. Yeah, but who reads patch notes, right? Anyway, let's go play Galzian and Con-F, and then we'll show people what carriers look like on that. You know, how they can check tech and stuff. I'll do Galzian, you do Con-F. Oh, wow. That's good to know. 3,000 meters away. That's insane. That's actually just stupid. Like on College Teeth, that's like from this dune here. 3,000 meters, I think, is like in the opponent's base. Like, that's just unreal. Why is it so big? Oh my gosh. We'll do this on Torin Crater, but it's important to note that it's actually a little bit harder to check tech on a map that's dark. So like Firebase Krill and the Boneyard are both like nighttime maps. It's kind of hard to see tech on them, so that's something you want to look out for. But and then after this, I guess we can go over Sport Cruiser first. That might be good to know. I'm not even going to say GLHF. He doesn't deserve it. Seven Up, 6-Up, or another soda? I think 6-Up these days, although there is discussion as to whether or not 8-Up is better in CVC matchups. I think it is, but we're not completely sure. And it also is always going to be a little bit more vulnerable to rushes. But in GVC, you always want to do 6-Up. I'll just get like kind of greedy here at the beginning. But one thing I'll do is I'll send this base runner out and put a probe close to oh my gosh, hiccups. Oh gosh. Anyway, I'll put a scanner close to his carrier so that we can see his tech. Golly. So Sandscammer Fabrication will have no tell. Yeah, I know, but the water is so far away. So yeah, we won't be able to see when we're getting Sandscammer Fab. Unless there's like a tell on the PC, but I don't think so. When we start building a salvager, there's no light, it doesn't look like. Unless maybe that's it, but I don't think so. But when we start building a sand skimmer, you'll see this light blinking on the PC, and I believe this is the same for every unit that you can build from the PC. Here's our scanner, so we can check his tech as well. Oh gosh, blast drones, what is he doing? No, no, no. What's going on here? I'm confused. So that was just it auto-attacking? Oh, that's funny. Anyway, the pattern for Galazine tech is going to be pretty much the same as Coalition tech, right? So again, the module in the back generally indicates armor, and the module in the front indicates rails. So the module in the back here is going to be assault ships, and the one in the front is going to be railguns. I'm actually going to get ref mode here so we can just build up more money, because we're going to have to tech quite a few things here. Okay, so Assault Ship Fab is finishing now. And this module here is going to open up. And then on Conef, it's going to be quite similar as well. He hasn't gotten it yet, but it's going to be this little thing on the back here. The tricky thing with Conef is it's sometimes a little bit hard to tell whether these are open or not, but yeah, once it finishes, you'll see this thing raise up. Let me just open up my base here real quick. And then I'll start taking rails, I guess, once I have the money for it. Man, he is slow, isn't he? Anyway, this little ball, like this circle here, is rail tech, and this box here is a assault ship tech. So again, it's the same kind of system, right? The one that's further back is the armored unit, and the one that's further forward is the rail unit. So it's finished now, so you can see this thing beginning to open up. So that is assault ship tech on Conef. And then for us, we're going to get rail tech pretty soon here. 4 squares on the back. Oh, these? I don't think they do anything, actually. So here's rail tech. And then we'll have Conef get rail tech as well now. Oh yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's something that I was about to talk about. Actually, you can't check for air on Conef carriers, and I think it's really stupid. It's like this huge advantage, you know? They launch out of here, and then they dock like in these flaps, which open up to catch them, and so there's no way to see the air tech. But anyway, this is the rail module, though, which did a weird thing there. I'm not sure why, but you can see what that looks like. So that's railgun tech. And then I will tech air now. I guess I'm a little bit late on this. But the annoying thing is that for Conef, you cannot see air tech. It's just invisible. I've often wondered if it's possible to like see some light blinking when they're making like air units or something like that. Maybe we'll check that out, but I don't think it is. So this is just kind of one of the annoying things about playing against Conef. You can't, you can't see these things. It's the same light that's blinking now. Oh my gosh. That's just horrible. Yeah, so there's really just no way to check for Conef air tech. Anyway. I agree. Tell me when you have air tech coming out, and then I'll look for it, but I don't think we're gonna have a tell. 15 seconds. Oh gosh. It's coming out at the same time as mine then, but it's okay. I'll kind of just watch. For Galzian, you're gonna notice that these things turn into targets. But I really want to look at the kind of carrier to see what goes on. See how they open up and then these targets come out. But let's see. So tell me when AirTech finishes. It just finished and nothing? Oh, man. Yeah, so it's impossible to check for AirTech on Conf. And that's the same for bombers as well. You're not going to be able to see it. So yeah, that's just kind of something we have to deal with. But, you know. This is another reason I was saying in vanilla, I feel like Conf is just sort of better Galzian. But let's check out, different light? Oh, which light is blinking? This one here. Ah. Okay, so you can actually see that they're building an interceptor, huh? Because this light will blink. Okay, that's really good to know. Yeah. All this time we didn't know that you could, like, actually see Conf AirTech. I mean, well, you can't see it, but you can see when they're building it, and they usually will be if they get the tech, so. Well, would you believe, Orb, for the longest time, I didn't even know that you could see tech on carriers at all. I think a lot of players still don't know it. And this, by the way, is bomber tech on the Galzian carrier. And this is something that you want to look for because if your opponent gets bombers and you don't know about it, you're going to have kind of a bad time. For 7 years, I didn't know you could... He's been talking about Conf AirTech for 7 years now. Who was that who pointed that out? Halberd Guard or something, right? That you can hear them talking about this thing all the time. Anyway, for a Galzian air though, the biggest thing you want to look for is these targets opening up here. And then this target here is for bombers. So as for like building them, I'm pretty sure there's some light that turns on. Yeah, you see that? Right there. It's a little hard to see in this light actually. You can probably see it, it's showing up right there. So that's an interceptor building. And then when they launch, of course, it'll just come out of the front, so there's no indicator that it's launching really. And then when a bomber builds, a similar thing happens, the light opens up right here. The big thing to note on Galzian and stuff though is that you can't see that a railgun is building because obviously it doesn't show up here. Because it builds on the PC. And so this light is the same that turns on when we build a sand skimmer and when we build an assault ship. So there's no tell for what kind of unit is being built on a Galzian production cruiser, but yeah. Although I will say, there are players who have colored their carriers so that it's hard to see AirTech. I think most notably Garmulator would always do that. His carrier is like black on black. And the reason is that that's the same color that these air targets are, and so it's really hard to see when he techs AirTech. It's not very visible. So you actually can do that kind of stuff, but... And now I think we're gonna die to blast drones. Oh gosh. Anyway. You gotta just kill this freaking base runner, man. Whoa, dude. Oh yeah, that's true. That's kind of a big change. The Conf base runner heals now. I'm actually not so sure how I feel about that, but like, I don't know. Oh, whoa. I sneezed. By the way, another thing that Conf builds a lot that there's no tell for is Conf Siege. You can't see that on this carrier. Although I rather suspect when they build it that this light here will turn on. But it's the same light that turns on for production cruisers, so it's not really the best tell. So, freaking Conf, right? That's just kind of how they are. Stupid rusty boys. Dude, wouldn't it be cool if, like, the scanner hurt things? Like, you could throw scanners on top of units and, like, damage them? Yeah, I saw something blinking like right here. Is that what you mean? But you know, okay, sure, I'll check it on the carrier as well. This is the PC light, but it looks like the salvager was different or something. On Coalition, though, there was actually no way to tell. You couldn't see it. So this is the PC, is this light blinking on the back here? And I believe that's also Base Runner. No, I guess Base Runner is this light here. And then Salvager is going to be this light as well. Okay, so it's actually quite easy to see if a PC is building. It's kind of fun. I guess we might as well just check into Siege Cruiser and then see if a different light blinks for that. And A-Game, you should do the same. If you're building a Con F Siege Cruiser, let's like see which light blinks. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. One thing I am for sure, though, is that there's no indicator when we finish Siege Cruiser fabrication. We're not going to see that on the carrier anywhere, but we may see it when we're building, if it's not this light. Oh, this light is blinking right now. Maybe this doesn't actually indicate Salvager is being produced. Because I noticed that on Coalition there was no light for it. Yeah, so there's no tell for Salvagers, but it's true, the PC being built is a lot more important. Okay, so Siege Cruiser Fab is done. There's no light. Oh. That's interesting. You know what, that's actually true, yeah. But it looks like there's no tell for Siege Cruisers, so it doesn't even have this light blinking on the back. I could check Honor Guard, but I imagine it'll be the same way. I guess the last thing I want to see... No, we won't be able to see that. Okay. Yeah, there's no light at all. So it looks like that backlight can always be used to find... That backlight can always be used to find PCs, yeah. This small blinking light here, this actually doesn't turn off ever. So I don't think that that's an indicator that salves are being built or whatever. It's the same way on the Galzian carry. If you look on the back here, this one's just always flashing. It does turn off? Are you sure? Here, cancel whatever you're building. I just want to see if it still blinks. Yeah, okay. So that light will always be on. But the, if he starts building a PC, like, this light will turn on. And this is actually a big thing. Wow. Well, this is pretty cool. I didn't know that this was a thing. Dude, there's like, that's freaking sick. There's like a guardrail on there. I never noticed that before. Look at this. Wow. That's pretty cool detail. Yeah, it's true. That'd be kind of a work safety violation. It's true. Are there like guardrails on the PC? I bet no one stands on the top of the PC, but yeah, it's too smooth and slippery. I feel like that'd be very dangerous to be on top of that. Anyway, I agree, A-Game, I agree. Wait, HGC has its own light? Are you building one right now? Yeah, look at that. Okay, let's see. Do we have a light blinking like that on Gaussian too? That'd be really interesting to check. Also, yeah, the PC does have a turret. It shoots air units. You know what I've always thought is super cool looking though is like the front of the PC. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's just like freaking beautiful. Same with like the siege cruiser. Man, that just looks so cool, you know? Yeah, I know, right? It's freaking hilarious. Yeah, I am too, because actually that's kind of a big thing to know. Often coalition players will just like drive right on top of you. And then it's always a little bit dangerous to like just stay there fighting them because you never know if they're building BCs. But if we actually have a light that indicates that, that'd be huge. It doesn't look like... What the heck was that? Oh. Anyway, it doesn't look like there's a light for HTC's building. So that's kind of weird. There's a light for that on ConF, but not on Gaussian. Interesting. No. Wonkers. Okay, well, we've learned some important things, eh? Here's kind of air landing, by the way. This is kind of important to see. This is the reason you can't scout it, because there's no target. This thing opens up. Oh. He killed my scanner. Well, you'll just have to believe me. You'll just have to believe me. Okay. Well, I think we should show people some support cruiser first now. And then just open it up for questions again. Maybe we can show some Gaussian build orders too. Oh, wowza. I guess there's two Sport Cruiser First builds, though, aren't there? There's a LAV into Sport Cruiser First, and then there's just straight up, 6 up, right? And then there's 8 up, too. I guess there's kind of a lot of variations, but... What time is it for me now? It's 11:50 a.m., so not bad at all. We should check JC4. Okay. Do you remember a game in particular where someone did it? Because we can just get the replay for that. 2050. That's not bad either. I'm just gonna load in the finals between you and Descara. I imagine he'll have done it at some point there. In fact, he may even have tried it on that Boneyard game that you won. Oh wait, I already have these replays in my game. What am I doing? Oh wait, no I don't. Technical difficulties. Sorry, people. That's weird. Oh, okay, wait, never mind. I know what I'm doing. Boneyard is game 3, okay. I'm gonna load in game 3 between you and Descar then and see if he does SC first here. Oh no, this is the wrong one. Well, I guess we'll see what he does in this game. Okay, so let's see what discard does here. He opens with LEV Fab, puts 4 on CUs. There's no base runner retire, and this is usually a good sign that someone wants to go SC first. That they'll keep that base runner with them. He makes a salvager here to his RUs. This was back when LEV Fab was a little bit cheaper, so I think he was able to do this faster than we would now, but... And then he starts making LEVs after he gets 2 of those out. Okay, so he's gonna push with the base runner and LEVs. Is that like the idea? I do remember distinctly in this one, you keep this guy here like forever and you manage to kill salvagers with it. It's very funny. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be saving up for a sport cruiser yet. That's for sure. There's 3 LAVs. I think we'll speed this up just a bit. 4 LAVs. And then in a support cruiser. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of what I was thinking about. Okay. So it looks like the way that he does this build, he puts 4 on CUs, and then he gets LEV Fab and puts 2 on RUs. Like builds 2 to go into RUs. And then he makes 4 LEVs, and then he goes into his support cruiser. And this might be a little bit different with the cost change to LEV Fab, but we'll test it out anyway. I think the important thing to remember is just that it actually costs RUs to make the support cruiser now. So you can't just kind of make it, you know, in the middle of like this LAV build. You have to get RU miners set up so that they can build you that support cruiser, because otherwise you're not going to have the money for it. Here comes the SC, and then he'll move out onto his second base. Okay. I think I'm ready to showcase this one in-game then. Shouldn't be too hard. We'll just do it on College Teeth again, because why not? Did I read the description of this map right? Seasonal storms birth in ancient wreck. Ooh. Ooh. I don't want to hear that. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough now. Oh. Corona Town. Okay, so here's the situation. We put these guys onto CUs. I believe we're gonna build an LAV, so Salvager first. Now, if we plan on going support cruiser first, it's really important that we keep our base runner. Because it's going to allow us to do a lot more like greedy things back at home, because we're not worried about being killed by stuff. The turret is a really good, you know, defensive weapon here. And then we get our second RU miner set up. Yeah, that's pretty much a thing. Anyway, so it's 4 on the CUs, and then we build 2 RU miners. The exact timing of LEV Fab, I'm not sure of. It looks like I probably should have gotten this earlier, because now you can see I'm going to be a little bit behind. But it is no matter. Looks like we're going to build 4 or 5 of these things, so I'll just queue them all up right now. And as they're building, we're going to build up enough money to build a sport cruiser, which of course costs 450 by 50. And yes, that's the idea. We have the base runner either to set down a turret on our home, if we find, you know, a PC coming up and attacking us, or to move out with the LAVs for the attack. So we can do either of those things. You did the same thing I did? Yeah, so you want to get LAV Fab first? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, because I have money for it as well, so... I think what we can determine from this is that A-Game and I are plebs, and you should learn every build that you use from Discara instead. So let's try it again, actually. I'm sure we can do this a little better. Alright. This time will be different, you know? It's perfect music for teaching a build order, I guess. I love how one of the view bots that's on my channel all the time is actually just like, its name is like a memory location. It's like, yeah, I believe that this is a real person. Anyway, here we go. So we put 4 onto CUs, we tech LAV Fab first, apparently. Again, we leave the base runner here so that he can set down a turret if we need him. And then probably we're going to have to do a little bit of a quick drop here. To get our first... Oh man, I did it perfectly, look at that. We start building RU salvagers here. This is not the most important thing in the world though, because we're going to have enough RUs for... Oh, A-Game. I'm doing well though, so we'll keep going. Anyway, you're going to have enough RUs to build the sport cruiser whether or not you quick drop like that, so it's not like the most important thing in the world, but you do want to get as many RUs as you can, so a little bit of a quick drop there is good to get this RU salvager out a little faster. And then we're going to build LAVs pretty much until we have money for a sport cruiser, I suppose. Yes, A-Game is definitely right about that. I think when we get to some GVG build orders, they're really tight. Like, you have to do things in the right timing, but for Coalition, it's a lot more... Like, for Coalition versus Galzine, it's a lot more, variable, I suppose, you know? You can do a lot of interesting stuff. We have money for our sport cruiser, so we could make another LAV, but I think I'll just queue it up now. So we'll have 4 LAVs out. And then what Discara was doing was moving his base runner out too, so that he could put down a turret and have some pressure against his opponent. And that was going to allow him to expand, like, above his opponent, basically. Well, it's the Coalition versus Galzine matchup is more freestyle, I'd say. But yes, what A-Game is saying is definitely true. Definitely true. The build orders branch off really quickly is what he's getting at. You need to be able to change what you're doing in like kind of a heartbeat, you know what I mean? Because for instance, if I'm going for like an AAV rush and I see like 1 PC assault ships, I really have to change my plan. I'm not going to pressure my opponent anymore. Right now what I need to do is defend against the assault ships and then like push them out of my base. So it's very different based on like what you encounter. Anyway, that's the basic idea, though, as this this support cruiser first build here. Don't know if there's anything else to talk about with this. I guess the important thing here is that we are actually slowing down our first SC build. By, like, yeah, I guess he's right. It's not SC first anymore, is it? I guess you could call this, like, fast expand. I don't know. Yeah, terminology, whatever. But the point is, we're actually a little bit slower on this first SC than we could have been, right? And so probably what we want to do is really focus on stopping our opponent from getting his second base up, right? Because if he takes a longer time to get this second base up, then we're actually ahead. But if he takes like a shorter time than we did, and we don't get any damage done, we're actually going to be behind in this matchup. So that's the important thing, right? Is that if you're going to make LAVs first, you need to actually use them. And this is a mistake that I see from people all the time. They feel like it makes them safer. But the thing is, you don't want to be safe when you're doing an eco build. Okay, that's kind of weird sounding. You do want to be safe, but you don't want to like play it safe, right? If your opponent has more eco than you, you're not safe. Even if you have units to defend, right? Unless he's attacking, those units don't do anything for you. So, the safest thing is the best build, not, you know, the build that gets you tech that you're not going to use. Ah, that's a good point. There's no turret. Anyway, yeah, let's show straight 6-up. This is going to be SC first now. Yeah, but Saban have got ALMs and stuff. Although it is true that they generally have a harder time defending against some types of attacks because of that. Anyway. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, A-Game. I believe that for straight 6-up SC first, you've actually got to put one guy on RUs at the beginning. Whereas for 8-up, I don't think you do. How much AoE does the ALM have? I'm not sure. It's enough to stun, like, probably like 3 or 4 sand skimmers when they're all bunched up, you know what I mean? So it's not like it's not a whole lot, but... And I don't believe it scales with power. 90 meters? Yeah, that's pretty big. I think that's about, like, the AoE that an assault ship has, right? Anyway, so you'll see I put 3 on CUs and 1 on RUs. This time, if I'm going to go SC first, I don't want to get LAV Fab, right? This is not needed. The first thing I want to do is get that Spore Cruiser started. Otherwise, it's not exactly SC first, is it? As A-Game was so wont to point out in our last game there. I get the base spreader set up here because this is a good spot for the turret to go down if we need one. And then we're going to have to do a little bit of a quick drop here. And that'll give us the 50 RUs that we need to start the Spore Cruiser. Now we're going to save it for LAV Fab. Now, I've seen people scout like with the probe before they get LAV Fab, but that is a mistake, right? You don't want to do that. You want to get LAV Fab first. And the reason is because if we send out our probe and we find an attack coming and we don't have LAV Fab started, it's like, okay, well now I know I'm going to die. You know, it doesn't exactly do you much to scout if you're not actually going to be able to do anything with that scouting information. So then we send our probe out. The Spore Cruiser is finishing now. And we start filling out the second base. Unless we see like a PC here or something, then we're going to go into full defensive mode. But if we don't, we're just going to go out here and we're going to scout what our opponent is doing. And that's really pretty much it. From here, there's a lot of things you can do. I think the most normal thing is to go into AAV fabrication, but there's a lot of options from this position. Perhaps, but I think that's kind of what the probe is for. I want to scout to see if you're doing something, and if you are, I'm going to definitely not, you know, go eco like this, but... Although it should be noted, you know, sometimes the PC is going to be hiding. It's going to be sort of in a hard spot to see. So yeah, you can't really rely on the probe having found it. One thing's for sure, though, if you scout his base and the PC isn't there, and then you scout his second and the PC isn't there, it's got to be attacking you somewhere, so... But yeah, that's pretty much 6-up. It's not really the hardest build to pull off. One thing I will say is that if you you have this base runner here, right? And especially in CVG, but just in general, you actually want to keep this thing here for longer than you think you should, because it's also good for setting down anti-air turret posts. So I know it's tempting to be like, okay, let's go for the artifact now, but we don't have any field control, right? So the base runner is very likely to just kind of die if we send him out like that. And then we're really going to wish later on that we had that option for some quick anti-air or for some quick, you know, turret action and stuff like that. So this is something Descara used to yell at me about all the time, is that I would, like, send this base runner out and then get it killed. And he was like, what are you doing, you idiot? So explain what to do versus AS and HR rushes with this build. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Although I've got to say, I'm not very good at it, so maybe we should, oh, and hello, Shrike. Maybe we should have me rush you, and then you try to defend it. Because I feel like I'm not really the best at it. Oh, hey, you're back. We just went over a bunch of Coalition build orders, so you might want to actually just, like, watch the stream, like, from the past, kind of. Because we're gonna go over a lot of the things that you wanted to know about. Like about an hour ago we started. Yes, indeed. Although, you might be able to do it right now, but I'm not sure. Anyway. Okay, Boneyard is terrible for this. He'll just die insta. Let's maybe do it on, like, Firebase Krill. Oh, boy. Okay. Is Krill worse? And yes, I will show using assault chips properly. Really? You won't do SC first on Krill? Man. Anyway, let's begin this one. I'm going to do a rail rush against him. He's going to do that build that we just saw, which is SC first. And his goal is to show us how to, like, defend when he sees a rail rush coming. We're probably going to watch the replay. Oh no, just Carrier's leaving. Well, I'll see you later. Unless you were saying bye to someone else who just left. No, I think he's leaving. Anyway, we'll watch the replay after this one and see what he does to defend against this rail rush. This build as well I will show later on, but you might as well start learning it now. If you just kind of watch what I'm doing. He says that because there's definitely one spawn on Boneyard that's better if we're doing this kind of build, and it's definitely this one. Because if I can get to my opponent's second now, look, I have like a hill leading into his base. It's just like, it's absolutely terrible. So, it's kind of a meme that he always gets the spawn when we play on Boneyard. It may have something to do with who's the host, but I'm not really sure. So, it's just a fact of life at this point. So my goal in a rail rush is actually to kill my opponent. Most rushes are not actually designed to kill your opponent. They're mostly just designed to like slow them down, and then you can get some damage done on them earlier. Like by you know, expanding faster than them. But this build actually is designed to just flat out kill them. And as a result, we have to have skimmers so that if he goes for LAV spam and stuff... Oh no. He's calling a restart. We have to have skimmers so that if he goes for LAV spam, we can defend our production cruiser, but we also have to have railguns. So it's pretty mind-gamey. It's not very easy to pull off, but it is very important to learn how to defend against this, because a certain somebody may really like doing it. So you may face this in tournament. I haven't been recording, but I can rip it off of Twitch. It'll cause it to be somewhat low quality, but it's probably worth it. We've gotten some really cool information here, so I think I should. Possibly I'll just upload the entire video, actually, because I feel like we've gotten a little bit tangential. Like, we did the whole carrier tech and stuff like in the middle of the Coalition build order section, so maybe it's best that I just like upload the whole video. Oh no, he got the good spawn. He did that on purpose, right? He called for a restart so that he would have a better spawn position. I know his ways. Yeah, that's kind of an important thing. When you go SC first, you want to actually build it. Oh, A game. How the great are fallen, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, stream died. Okay, we're back. That was scary. Yeah, I know, right? Well, there's also this thing, I feel like my family is just like cursed. We will never have good internet, no matter how much we spend on it. Everywhere I've gone, my internet has been really shaky, you know? And maybe that's just American internet, but I have a feeling it has something to do with my family. It's hereditary, you know? I think I need to save up for Railfab now. Well, they're gonna drop 40 on the next pass. So actually, we can make one more, I think. So it's like 4 skims, and then I can go in. No. That's really good that we killed the probe here, but he does still see what we're doing. So this is, somewhat suboptimal for him because he wouldn't know in a real game that this was going to be, railguns, but, like, he does know that there's a rush coming. So this is why I mentioned keeping the base runner back home. Because the stream will die sometimes. Because if these sandskimmers get in here and die to the SC weapon, that's kind of sloppy for me. But the important thing is, like, I can actually kill salvagers if he doesn't have a base runner to set up a turret. So he wants to be careful that he doesn't let that happen. It's getting a bit technical here. It's not good that our rail is split up from our skims here. But he doesn't seem to want to capitalize on that. Yeah, you basically want to zone out your opponent. It's always a little bit risky because, of course, he takes a lot of damage on the carrier doing that. But he does have an SC that can heal him, so... He does, yeah. So he's doing pretty well on the defense here. So this is tricky now because I can't really push on these LAVs because he's going to have range. Yeah, the objective here is actually to damage his carrier. Most rushes, I think I mentioned this a bit earlier, I want to actually just slow him down so that I can get more eco than him. But this rush, I actually want to just kill him. So it's a little bit different than most, I suppose. Yeah, this is a good defense from him. And now he has railguns, and that's like the other thing that he really wants to do. Because now I can't even just, you know, thwack down his carrier. So, So now I probably want to just go back and sort of admit that I've lost, like, the rush. So that's a pretty good hold. I think it's probably about ready that we can just call the replay here and then... Or call the game here and then watch the replay. What do you say, A-game? Okay. Let me just wreck all these LEVs first. It's true, I tend to not build AR like I should when I'm doing this kind of build, but it's because for some reason I don't trust AR for some reason. But yeah. So that's pretty much how you want to hold it. You make a lot of LEVs and then you get turrets up and then you get rails up. We'll go ahead and check out the replay from his side. AAV can work, and that's important because sometimes you'll do an AAV rush and you'll come across this, but you generally want to tech into rails. AAVs are going to be really hard to use here. Oh, I should watch the replay. Especially because you can get sundered, right? The armor break will apply onto you, and then the LAVs just kill you. Or the sandstormers, sorry, just kill you. And you definitely don't want to keep building more of them after you see the rails out, because you're kind of building a unit into its counter. That's never really a good scenario, you know what I mean? Alrighty. So A-game here is going to do a pretty typical SC first. So you see he puts one onto RUs. Yeah, that's true. I mean, this is what Phoenix Yo will always do. He makes like traps out of AAVs by having just like tons of them, but it's really risky. It doesn't always work. Anyway, as you can see, he puts one on RUs first, then he fills out his salvager line fully. So he's got 6 up here. And then he's going to save up for his support cruiser. This is like how we showed in the last build order segment, right? So now the support cruiser is on the way. Then he saves up for LAV fab, which he will probably do a quick drop for at about this timing. Oh my gosh, that only gave him 260. I'm wise. Okay, there we go. So LAV fab starts. And now that LAV fab is on the way, he can send out a probe. Yeah, okay, there we go. Here's the probe. Right? Oh my gosh, he hasn't sent the probe yet. Does he just not have money for it? Oh, you queued a salve up first. Okay, that's probably also totally fine. I think with quick dropping you could have done both though, but the probe being out super early is not the most important thing. Now, it's really ideal for him if this probe survives, but unfortunately it's going to get killed here. But the important thing for him to see is that I have a PC out in the midfield, right? You're just going to have to sleep and it's distracting listening to me? Okay. I suppose we can give you some real slack for that. So the probe sees the PC. Now, if the probe had lived, it'll want to go down to the carrier, because then once the tech finishes, he'll see which one it is. But if the probe dies, it's okay. He knows that a PC is out in the open, so what he's going to do now is start making LAVs. And he's going to get his base runner ready to set up a turret if he needs one on his main. And in fact, he is going to set one down here. So I see that and I'm going to back away. No interest in fighting the turret. But that keeps his main safe. So this is really important to do. Otherwise, you know, I can just kind of kill his main base and then things are going to get really bad for him. He's going to continue making LAVs. And then the tech that he's going to pick is railguns. Because if he's up against a rail rush, he's going to want railguns to shut down the assault rails and to make it so that the heavy rails can't just, you know, chew down his carrier. And if he comes across an assault ship rush, well, rails are the counter to assault ships. And so that just seems like the most obvious choice. One thing that I think might not be obvious to people is that you should never tech fighter and gunship in this type of scenario. Unless you think that your opponent is backing away and going for economy. But the problem with fighter and gunship is that I'm going to have 2 production cruisers after a while, and they can really kill air units, so it's not really a good idea. He starts teching power reserves now, which is going to be nice because he can get some armor up and he's not going to lose his carrier. And he drives out like this because he's trying to push me over this dune. Right? If he's holding my sand skimmers here, I'm actually shooting his carrier. But if he holds my sand skimmers here, my railgun has to be behind, and I won't be able to shoot his carrier for free, right? So he wants me to be past this dune here. So this is a really good push for the carrier there. Yeah, if it's rails, normally the Galazine player will try to finish you off with 2 PCs. So going for air is kind of a mistake. Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about, right? It's that the LAVs are fighting my sand skimmers here now. They're not fighting them here. If they're fighting them here, then I'm going to be shooting your carrier, like, constantly. Anyway, it's important to note, though, that when we're near dunes, sand skimmers can overpower LAVs. So he's going to put down a second turret right here. And this way, if I manage to push him over this dune, I'm going to get shot by this turret. And you can see that starting to take shots into the sand skimmers here. So that basically tells me, okay, I can't move over this dune here. I also can't really engage his LEVs like in a straight fight because of that turret. And so this makes me it makes it a lot harder for me to keep this rush going, because just having overwhelming numbers of sand skimmers is no longer actually going to beat my opponent. So yeah, this isn't all in, but you can often actually pull back from it, which is kind of interesting, and go into refinery mode. It's risky though. Anytime you have to pull back with the production cruisers, I think you're kind of behind when you do this build. Anyway, as a result, you can see me kind of desperately trying to fight these LAVs here, but I can't get any good trades on them. And A-Game now has railguns, which is really going to shut down this push. So at this point, I need to realize, okay, this is not really going to work, and I have to back away. And so this is a pretty much successful defense of the rail rush. His carrier took a bit of damage, but he's fine. And he's going to be able to get more economy than me as we back away and move into the mid-game. So he'll be in sort of a winning position. I'll agree, though, yeah, doing this push against this spawn here is very hard. Doing it against this spawn is very easy. And so this is one of the unfortunate things about the Boneyard. It has quite a difference in, like, spawn, essentially. This was good, though. But of course, he wasn't microing at all, so it doesn't really count. But yeah, that's how you defend against the rail rush. I guess now I might as well teach you how to do the rail rush. It's a really fun build, you know what I mean? Because it's not boring at all. It's not like, okay, now we're waiting for the players to go for economy. It's just like, fight him now, you know, and you instantly try to kill him. So, let's do that. I guess Boneyard is fine. KT ult, okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. No, actually, A-Game is always telling me that I ought to be building more assault rails when I do these rail rushes and stuff. So, actually, the assault rail is pretty good for killing the turret. It's kind of interesting. It's because it has a lot of, like, burst damage, right? You have the sand skimmers come up in front, and then the turret shoots at the sand skimmers, so it wastes its burst. And then the ARs pop over the hill, and they can kill it usually in, like, one shot. So, so yeah, mixing assault rails into this build is actually quite good. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put 2 on RUs, and then we build salvagers from both of our production slots here. We retire the base runner, make sure you throw a scanner out. And then when the base runner retires, we have 287 CUs, so we want to do a little quick drop here and get sand skimmer fab fast. So that's just a little optimization, but it'll make things go a lot faster for us. I like to rotate things that they're, you know, facing straight into where we want to drop the things off. And then once we have finished the first salvager from the production cruiser, we're going to move it out into the open. And then, as you can see there, I like to do a little quick drop to get my LDMs up a little bit faster. We're going to make 2 LDM salvagers. But the important thing is that we're going to start making sand skimmers immediately. Like, once we have the tech for it. And the reason is that if we lose the sand skimmer and LAV fight, our build is not going to work. We're actually just going to die. So, because he'll probably kill our PC. And that's a really bad scenario to be in. Oh, that's good. So yeah, we want to keep building sand skimmers usually until we have about 4 of them. It kind of depends though, because sometimes... Oh, well maybe you're right. I'm reading what Ordnet just wrote. It's okay though. Anyway, based on how fast we mine CUs in the beginning, we might make 4, we might make 3. In this case I had money for 3, but it's not going to matter too much, because we'll be able to get a 4th queued up right after. But Railfab getting started early is also very important for this build. As for where we want to attack, it's kind of a mix between we want hills so that the sand skimmers can function better, but we also want flat ground so that we can do more damage with the railguns. It's also important to remember to get Fleet Cap 45 here, and then not just lose sand skimmers for nothing. That always helps when you don't just lose sand skimmers for nothing. Like that. It's okay though, because we didn't trade. So as you can see, this is going terribly well. If he's beating us in the sand skimmer fight, we usually want to get assault rails. And if he's not, or he has like AVs or something like that, we want to get heavy rails immediately. The important thing to note is that there's not really very much threat to this build until the heavy rails come out, because that's what's really going to kill his carrier. So I always like to get heavy rails when I'm doing this. As for, you know, are there some maps when you wouldn't do this strat on? Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't ever do it on the shallows, just because it's the shallows, you know. There are some kind of funny things you can do trying to contain, like, their 4th base, but, like... But yeah, this build is pretty suboptimal on the shallows. I really love it on Boneyard, but if we get the bad spawn, I usually wouldn't try it. It's risky on Firebase Krill, but it can work pretty well, so... It sort of depends, I guess. Now, one thing you'll notice is that I queued up a second PC here. This is kind of nice because it can kill this probe. Of course, as we learned today, he can actually see it coming out because of that light there, but... The other thing that it does, though, is it allows us to win by just kind of, you know, overwhelming him with sand skimmer numbers, right? That's something that we can't do otherwise because he'll have the production upgrade. So... Yeah, me too, but I'm really just kind of surprised we didn't know about it until now, you know? Anyway, we want to keep building units. I want to make sure we have the advantage in numbers here. And we want to kind of kite with these ARs as well. And any time that his carrier is visible, we want to shoot that carrier. That's kind of the big rule of thumb here, right? Is that killing the carrier is of utmost importance. That's like how we win from this rush. So anytime it's visible, we just want to shoot at it with the heavy rails. And now he's kind of boxing me in here, so I've done sort of a bad thing, but it's okay. You can't win everything. We just saw him get rail tech. You can see that on his carrier now. In fact, this is probably going to go very badly now, because now he's got the LAVs kind of charging in toward my PCs here. So I definitely could have executed this better, but it's going to be okay. Because it's not actually a tournament game, we're just displaying builds. I'd be pretty mad if I did that in a tournament game, because that was kind of a throw, but you get the idea. Overall, I'd say this is not too hard to execute if you like execute the order of like building things if you practice it a lot, but it's very, very hard to win. It takes a lot of practice to make this like a winning build. So it's a really good one to have in your pocket though, because it makes your assault ship pushes a lot stronger, because they're always thinking like, well, what if this is actually a rail push, you know? Because that could just, you know, kill them outright. So this is a great build to know. And we're going to see if we can still push in here. It's probably over. In situations like that, I think the right call is probably to back away and go eco. I will agree with what A-Game just said. if I can deny his natural base here, then it's only a matter of time before I'll win. If I push him off of his main, obviously I'm doing really good. But if I can just push him off of his second base, we've probably already won the game. So that's kind of what we want to do. I'm thinking maybe on Kartova we might want to actually attack from this side, because then we get some really nice high ground and stuff, but... Was I shooting the base runner? That was probably just like a mistake, like auto-targeting from the heavy rail. I did notice that, yeah, you have no turret. I guess just because you were winning like the LAV fight. Anyway, it is true, I'm still on one base, right? So I'm not exactly, you know, booming up in economy. I can always fall back and get ref mode, right? Like in a situation like this, I could say, okay, time to get ref mode, we pull our PCs back, and then maybe we can kind of bounce up to, like higher economy. But the big thing is that if we deny his second base, we're also denying his long distance miners. And because we can win the Sandskimmer race, if he has 2 production slots, we're kind of okay here. If he gets a 3rd production slot and he's on a second base, we're probably going to lose. So that's why denying his natural is very important here. The other thing is that we're going to have LDMs and he's not. So yeah, denying him off of his second base is pretty much saying that we're going to win the game. And it often takes a lot of time, but eventually it's going to happen. We can also get range calibration at some point, so it's... yeah. It's quite hard to defend properly. He's definitely right. That's kind of the idea. Let's go ahead and show assault ship pushes then. I think that might be the next thing to display. Oh, cool. Orb and No Fun are playing a game. Oh, goodness. Of course we'll do this on Torrent Crater, because it's the most, like, stupid map for this. Actually, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we'll do this on Boneyard or something. A-game is getting exhausted. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think the next thing I want to display is ref mode first, which doesn't really take a partner, so... Okay. Versus AAV defense? It's gonna kind of change things, because normally when you see AAVs, you both want to pull back and, like, not fight. Because it can kind of go either way. Maybe what we should do then is, if you want to see Assault Ship versus AAV, we can have him doing SC first, but then when he sees the Assault Ships, he'll tech into AAV instead of into rails. I don't know if A-game is fine with that. If so, we can practice that. I think the usual defense for AS push, though, is going to be rails, but... oh yeah, that'd be cool. Well, we can have him post replays after either way. That's what I was thinking of doing. But first, let's do some let's do some Assault Ship versus AAV. I'm gonna just put down a disclaimer. I'm not actually really the best at this. A-game makes it look really easy when he's using the Assault Ships, but like I'm not terribly good at it. I tend to sort of overextend and get guys killed, but I will do my best. I will also show you the build, by the way. There's kind of 2 variations of it. One of them gets you Assault Ships a lot faster, but it's a little bit weaker on the economy. And generally, if you're going to do an Assault Ship build, you want to be focusing on your economy. So in my opinion, oh yeah, I did get the good spawn for AS push, didn't I? Anyway, it's generally a good idea, I think, to get 4 on CUs and then build 2 onto RUs here. Because we have our base runner retire, we're going to get the RUs for Assault Ship tech really fast. And if we're going to do this against Galzian, we're not going to want to do it this way, but I'll show that later in the stream probably. Then we're going to move out the PC once again. So the starting looks a lot like the Rail Rush. I can also build a couple of LDMs, but I don't want to overbuild on these because then I'm not going to have enough money for assault ships properly. Skimmer tech is finished now, so we're going to do a quick drop on everybody, and that'll get us the money for assault ship fab. And then the next important thing to focus on is our pop cap, right? We don't want to tech fleet cap 45. That's sort of what we're avoiding. So usually the magic number here is 16. We want to get 16 fleet capacity because that allows us to build 3 assault ships. That's kind of like a really nice number of assault ships to have. And then we can back away and get refinery mode without having to... Oh no, we do build skims. But yeah, then we can back up and get refinery mode without having to tech fleet cap 45 at all, which is going to make things a lot faster. So there's a couple ways that we can fill up to 16. We can make 3 sand skimmers, or we can make 2 sand skimmers and 2 salvagers. I like to do it that way because I feel like it's really important to get that long distance mining done. And it's also important because now when he checks with the probe, it still actually looks like a rail rush. And he'll know if he's really good and he counts the numbers here, he'll be able to see, okay, yeah, both of the CU patches have the same number missing. And so clearly he's doing an AS rush, but I think most people are not going to see that. After AS Tech finishes, though, he's going to know, because the module will pop up. But we're actually at his base now, so it kind of doesn't matter. It's really important we always tech Armor 1 when we get here, because that's going to make the AS a lot more defensible. And then I like to use the positioning of my PC to sort of drop the assault ships where they need to be. But I had to kind of pull back for his carrier there. But keeping them behind dunes is always good, because these guys want to be close up and personal. We're going to check his tech here. He doesn't have rails. He doesn't have AAV yet either. So this is a bit of a time that we can sort of do some damage. And yes, A-Game is always going to set down a turret to defend against this. The question is just where is that turret going to be? This takes a bit of multitasking. We want to do damage on both sides of the field. There's the turret on his main. We see that now. So we don't want to pressure his main, but we're getting some good pressure on his second. Sort of denying mining over there. Now we'll tech ref mode and we'll come back home. And then we just try to contain his assault ships here, or contain his base here with these assault ships. We can't really push on his main anymore, but I still like leaving one here just to have a bit more pressure. And maybe on the way back we could even kill his probe. I lost a sand skimmer, so I can build some more LDMs, which is always going to be kind of nice. Yeah, we did kill that probe. But we can't get fleet cap 45 until ref mode is already finished. AV rush will stop this from happening, but it won't hard counter it. When we see an AV rush, we basically both want to just back away. Because neither of us are really interested in fighting in a fair fight here. That can go wrong in a lot of different ways. Once ref mode finishes, of course, we're going to tech up to fleet cap 45. And then usually we'll follow up with air or something. I guess we'll go air this time. But obviously from here, it's kind of your game. You can do whatever you want. If I've really slowed down my opponent a lot here, I can usually be ahead no matter what. Well, not necessarily. The AV is going to beat the assault ship at no tech and stuff, but it's not just going to win. It's a little bit more complicated than that. And learning to play assault ship versus AV takes a lot of practice, but it can be done. So maybe I'll show that next if A-Game's not too tired. Yes, you always want to know if there's an air follow-up here. Because air is really going to mess you up. As for me, I want to check to see if he's making I want to check to see if he's making a bunch of AVs to counter push on me, but it doesn't look like he is this time. We still just have rails, no AV tech. So I'm feeling fairly confident I'm not going to get pushed. Because if he does push into me, he's going to just die to these railguns. So our PC is going to finish here. He saw air tech though, so he knows. And in that case, we don't have to build too many air units, just enough to keep us safe. Some players are better than others at making air work even when there's, you know, counters on the field, like anti-air and stuff. I'm not really the best at that, so I don't really want to try it. But we'll fill out our third base, and we know that we're a lot faster than this. Or we're a lot faster than our opponent at this. And we just kind of keep making assault shifts to sort of keep control over the field. Oh, we need RUs. Oh my gosh. Alright, there we go. Yes, A-Game is right, by the way. He's not just sort of bewailing his existence. He's actually very far behind in this matchup already. Because we're on 3 base right now, right? If I send my air out to just sort of check like what base he's on, he's probably just now getting this set up. And he doesn't really have a very good standing army because he still has to deal with anti-air. He's going to see the air units launching with the probe. That's quite fortunate for him. But yeah, look, he's just getting his third base set up, but I'm here with the interceptors and I'm going to start killing selves. He'll set up an anti-air turret post, but I'm sort of okay with it. We just need to get like one more shot in. Oh my gosh, a missile battery popped on us. Oof. Well, that's a little bit unfortunate, but... Three salvagers as expensive as a support cruiser now. Yeah, well, they're expensive with CUs, but not with RUs. I think you'll find that it's still easier to make salves than SCs, but... Anyway, as for the thing about Coalition Rails, yes. The reason is because he can't just push. I have air, right? And if he pushes without anti-air cover, he's just gonna die. And so, even though rails are the counter to assault ships, I can still control the field for a long time with this build. Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, he's not going to have enough to push before the air comes out. He's going to have to wait for it, and so yeah, things are going to get real bad for him. So now we're going to look to kill this turret. This may or may not work, but it allows us to split his attention on multiple places. Yeah, it looks like that didn't work at all, but we are still going to probably kill his third base here. And so even losing air like that is not really the biggest problem. Oh, was that SCAA? Maybe that's what that was. Still though, that's an expensive tech, right? We know that we've kind of forced him to get it now. I like to follow up by this. I like to follow up with this by getting base runners and going for carrier power. Oh, the default SCAA. I see, I see. Yes, I like following up with base runners and carrier power. Going for siege is always good. Going for rails is good. Yes, I agree, A-Game. I kind of choked on that push, but it's okay. But yeah, there's a lot of options from here. There's a lot of things that I can do. And I should, if I executed this properly, have really good field control. Getting armor 3 is also like a huge advantage for me. I think stream is freaking dying or something, but... Good player, BTW. We all have those games. Anyway, you can see there's just so many assault ships on the field here. It's going to be very hard for my opponent to ever just get control of this field, you know? And by the time he does, who knows what I'm going to have ready for him. In this case, it's going to be siege with carrier power to boot, but there's a lot of options from here. No, he does. He just can't move out. For instance, like this hill here is really stopping him. I do definitely have more units than him, though, because my economy is stronger. But It's really hard for him to push out across the field at this stage. He also knows, of course, once he pushes out to stop these extractions, I'm going to attack his main. So, I mean, there's just all kinds of problems from here. By the way, we still have air tech, too. So, I mean, there's so many things that we can do. Also, he's going to lose his probe, I guess. Not quite, but almost. One thing I like to do when I tech siege is I like to turn off the auto fire, because that way my opponent doesn't know that I have it until I fire the first barrage. Of course, A-Game knows because he can hear me, but ACs are a really good choice for him to deal with this. But will it be good enough? That's the question. He wants to stop the extract, but this is about when I can maybe do some damage to his main and stuff. And he's actually doing a really good job holding on here. This is good of him to just kind of camp out that extraction zone, though. He doesn't want to let me extract here. I might also die here. I'm not really playing this terribly seriously. But I mean, you could see I was in a very winning position. So this should be my game if I play properly after that kind of a contain. And that is pretty much the assault ship build. Don't know if there's really much else to say about it. He is going to stop our double extract, which is really good for him. He's even going to like almost kill my carrier, which is pretty funny. Oops. Oh gosh, are we going to lose this siege cruiser? Oof. That sucks. Yeah, I may die here. I've been pretty lazy. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna die. But, you know, if I play properly, though, I have a really good situation here, so it's not going to be easy for him to stop me. In fact, even that carrier push probably could have worked if I was a bit more serious about dealing with his assault cruisers and stuff. As for going AV against this, it's tricky because the rails really do a good job of stopping the assault ships from pushing in. And the AVs are not as good at that, so I mean, it can work, but it's a little bit dangerous. If he goes for like an AV rush, let's say, then we are going to back away, and he won't deal with this scenario. But yeah. So that's a really powerful build. I think AV rush is probably like the best answer to this, but I don't know. If I do this kind of thing to Phoenix, he always goes for AVs at first, and I find that I'm often able to kind of poke in and stuff, but... So yeah, that's the way of the assault ship rush. I guess, A-Game, if you want to take a break, I can show ref mode first now. This is a really kind of chill build. It's not very hard to do. You can honestly just AFK. And I'll just sort of show how ref mode first works. Yeah, so just AFK. I'll deal with this on my own. You see, I've got the sweet deal here, because I'm at my chair on my table, but also, if I prop my legs up, they're on the bed. And so I can sort of like lay down. Like while I'm casting. It's really nice. It's a freaking sweet setup. Yeah, I'll do some games with you as well, Shrike. Maybe I can show, like, how to do AS versus AV. That might be fun for people to see. To do ref mode first, though, is pretty simple. We put all 4 on CUs, we queue up salvagers onto the RU patch. There's kind of multiple ways of doing this that are kind of varying levels of greed. The greediest way to do it by far is to retire the base runner, but this is kind of dangerous. Do I need one on RU now? Oh yeah, because it costs 80, doesn't it? We can probably rectify it by like putting this guy... No, the RU miner already came out. Ah, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. It looks like we're going to be a little bit behind, so we want to put one on RUs really, but it's going to be okay. The goal of this base runner here is to see what my opponent is doing. And of course, in this case, he's not going to do anything because he's AFK, but if he wasn't, this would be important to know. Oh yeah, the float is beginning to be real. Maybe I'm remembering the days when ref mode used to cost 700 CUs instead of 600. Anyway, like I said, there are varying levels of greed. The next greediest thing you can do is to keep the BR, but to make salvagers first. But it's really risky. Normally we want to queue up sandskimmer fabrication and then we begin making salvagers. As for the base runner, he's going to put a scanner down. Now a lot of people put the scanner down here so that they can see tech. But I like to just put the scanner down over here. Because that way I can see if he opens up his second base. And I pretty much just assume if he doesn't, that he's going to go for greed, right? Or that he's going to go for an attack, sorry. And because the wreck isn't open, I'm probably going to start building sand skimmers, just so that I can, you know, fight off his attack. Which in reality isn't coming because he's AFK right now, but you know, whatever. If, however, I see that the wreck is open and he's mining off of it, I'm usually going to make more salvagers and just try to get my eco up as fast as I can. So this is the basic economy build for Galzian. And then of course if we want to get insanely greedy, we should go for a tech here, but we could make another production cruiser, but that's really risky. Yeah, the scanner should probably be like a little bit closer so that I can like see this side of the wreck. I sort of misplaced it, but it's okay because I can see that the wreck isn't open. So that tells me everything I need to know. As for like A-Game and Descara, when they do this, they usually put it to scout the carrier. But like I said, I feel like this is kind of sufficient, you know what I mean? And I have sand skimmers out too, so if LAVs are coming, I'm probably going to be okay. But yeah, getting tech and then getting another PC is sort of the standard way to play this. And it's just a lot safer that way. Oh. I just kind of assume you want to be making skims and teching no matter what when you do this build, unless you want to get really greedy, but... Of course, when I see this, I'm going to be like, what the heck? He's actually just not even here, and then we'll probably call a restart and whatever, but that's the idea. You make a third PC without rail tech. Oh my gosh. Now that is some Omega levels of greed. I guess you're right, there is probably some serious advantage to scouting his carrier. That's crazy greed, man. I usually go for like pressure off the second base, so it's normally not a problem for me, but wowza. Crazy times. Well, that's ref mode first. So, Shrike, my boy, you want to try some AV versus Assault Chip? It'll be good for you. You hope I refine refinery mode first? Well, no, I do the rail rushes, but I also do Assault Chip and I also do ref mode first and stuff, so I feel like I have sufficient builds for the GVC matchup. GVG is a little tougher because I feel like there's only really one thing that I ever do, but... And of course I don't do CVC because I don't really play Coalition. Man, I need some water. Holy goodness. I'm dying. What map should we do this on? Look, man, it's complicated. Let's do it on Firebase Grill, maybe. Yeah, but then you gotta pee all the time, you know. Oops. Oops. Oh my gosh, I can't click. Okay, so GVC, we're gonna do assault ships, and he's going to do AAVs. Yeah, it's funny how the map previews just often don't show. Like, look, it's still not there. I don't know why that happens, but it's just how it is, I guess. DOK, man, flawless game, no problems. Alrighty. So this is going to be the same build as before. We could get Sandskimmer Fab first, but we're not going to do it in this case. This is a good place to put the scanner because it has a little bit of cover, but... Oh, I think I missed, actually. Maybe it should have been there. Doesn't matter too much, though. The scanner is never going to be, like, terribly important for these types of builds. It's just, you know, you always want to put it down if you can, if you're going to retire the base runner. Might as well get that extra vision, right? And this position allows us to see if AVs are coming for the counter push a little bit faster, so it's always good to have. Now, like I mentioned before, we're going to make 2 salvagers and we're going to make 2 sandskimmers. And the goal here, if we can do it, is going to be to get ref mode when we don't even have fleet cap 45 yet. But the important thing is that if we see AVs from him, we can't do that, because that's just going to be too risky. We're going to be hurt a lot when he comes into our base inevitably and just kills us. So if we end up seeing AVs, we need to kind of back away here and consolidate. If he makes them late, we're going to leave our assault ships out there to try and delay him, and then we're going to get fleet cap 45, but then we're going to go ref mode. But if we see an AV rush, we just need to kind of run away. Here's the probe. If we can get some damage on the probe, we'll be happy. But the probe tells us it's probably not going to be an AV rush. Because normally, you know, for an AV rush, you're going to retire the base runner. And there it is. So yeah, this is SC first for sure. And now Shrike is going to tech AVs, we know, but even if we didn't know that, we're still going to move out here with our PC once AS finishes. And I think I'm a little bit late on this because I sort of derped with my eco, but it's okay. We have the correct number of salves and everything, so... And he's going to put down a turret here onto his main. So we probably don't want to push onto the main here. It's probably going to be better for us if we have one guy who can kind of pressure a little bit over here and just sort of play around with him, keep his attention split, and then 2 guys over here to try and deny his second base. So that's kind of how we're going to move our PC. Armor 1 finishes, of course. That's kind of a must-have. And then, yeah, I think we're going to send one guy over here. We'll put him on the control group because we're going to want to move him more frequently. Of course, he hasn't seen assault ships yet, but he sees the tech because of that probe. So he should know what he's up against here. And I think the normal thing would probably be to tech rails here, but he doesn't have to do it. And then we're going to finish, or we're going to start ref mode and we're going to back away. Again, if this was an AV rush, we wouldn't do this. We would probably focus on... Oh, and we just saw AV tech start opening there. If this was an AV rush, we wouldn't do this. We would focus instead on getting fleet cap 45 and stuff, and then being ready to fight when the inevitable counter push comes in. I might have also just killed this assault ship, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, I did. Oops. Like I said, I'm not the best. I often overcommit and get people killed, so. But it's gonna be okay. Rough mode is on the way. We're happy about this. And it looks like he's got us pretty well sort of shut down here. Except that maybe this logistics module is vulnerable. So I'm going to wait for this guy to heal up, and then we'll see if we can push on him a little bit. Ref mode finished, so we're immediately going to go up fleet cap 45. And here's the first AV. So the key to fighting against AVs is you want to keep them at range. Because AVs are faster than you, and so if they jump on top of you, you're going to have a bad time. I can re-heal and he can't, so that's kind of my big advantage over him. I kind of agree. I think this turret positioning is not the best, but... He also has armor 1, whereas we're going to have armor 2 in just a second, so I'm feeling pretty good about that as well. This AV is going to get kind of strafed by this turret, so we need to just back him away. He's going to be in a bit of danger here. But it's always good when your opponent attacks you on one side to kind of put up pressure on the other side. Now we're going to get our second PC set up. Unfortunately, we lost Group 3, so that was a bit of a mistake from me. I thought I could do something fancy, but apparently not. But because we know he has AV tech and not rail tech, or really even if he had rail tech, I'd probably do this, we're going to make a lot of assault ships. And because we can get armor 3 pretty soon, our assault ships are actually going to be able to fight his AVs, so... we want to just kind of move out across the field and stop him from getting this third base as long as we can. Because if we can get our third base set up first, we're probably going to win the game. We do have to watch out for counter pushes. A lot of times that's sort of the answer to this kind of thing, is to counter push on your opponent. It's true, yeah, if he gets fast AC, we can sometimes have problems. I tend to tech rails along with this build. That's like my answer to AC. So we can see him moving up onto the third base here. Actually, I think he has air tech. Yeah, he does. Okay, so we better tech missile batteries then. But that's fine, because missile batteries, or missile ships that is, are actually still pretty good units in their own right. And they synergize quite nicely with assault ship tech, because we're going to have armor upgrades for them. They already have armor 3. So I'm sort of okay with this, and they're actually also an interesting answer to assault cruisers as well. So this is sort of okay. I should really cancel that salvager, but I'm a little too late. Oh no, he has to leave. Well, I'm not sure. I feel like this game I'm actually probably still going to win at this rate. See ya. Of course, if the game was going to continue, we have missile ships here, so we would keep the missile ships with the assault ships. And then even when he gets air, we're going to have anti-air ready for him. And with that, we're going to push up toward his bases and just try to dislodge him. And if we can push him off of his third base or kill the salvagers or something like that, we're going to have a really good time. I could have executed better as well. I did some kind of risky plays that didn't work out there, but that's the basic idea, I guess. He's actually ahead in eco right now. Won't be for long, though, is my guess. Well, I think I'm going to get some water, because clearly I need that. Maybe we can look at GVG after this, because it's kind of a complicated matchup. As for CVC, I really don't know the I really don't know, like, what the builds are, you know what I mean? So... yeah. I'm sure Discara will just, like, come out with these, like, super optimized builds and just wreck everybody, but I don't know. Anyway, I'll be back in a second. Yes, I agree. Let me just drink this water. Mmm, tasty. Oh my gosh. I really was thirsty, I didn't realize. Let me just see what you were writing here. Yeah, I think you're probably right. One thing's for sure, when you do CVC, you shouldn't build LAVs at the beginning. They can still be good later in the game, obviously, but they're not going to work in the early game. So, teching into AVs or making it SC is pretty much, I think, the play. I don't really know if you even can do anything else now that I think about it. Because LAVs just really do not do well in that matchup if you're going for like early game attacks. If it's SC first, the LAVs aren't going to do anything on their own. If it's an AAV rush, you're just going to die. Yeah, the only thing that LAVs would work against is other LAVs, but obviously, you know, that's kind of a losing proposition. As for GVG, we've done a little bit of testing of this previously, and it turns out that the timings here are just really tight, you know what I mean? I was asking A-Game when we first tested this, like, are timings this tight in, like, StarCraft 2? Because I feel like this is insane. Like, if I do anything wrong, I just lose. And he was like, yeah, pretty much in ZVZ. That's kind of what it's like. There's two basic builds that we found have worked in GVG, and it's the Assault Ship Rush and the Railgun Rush, basically. It's like... well, the Railguns are more like the defensive player if you want to tech that. But that's pretty much, like, your only option, as far as I know. So yeah, A-Game, if you're around, I'd love to test this, but if you're still tired, I understand. Otherwise, I can try and, whoa! I can try and demonstrate the build orders for this, just against, like, an AI. Okay, good. And if you own me when I'm trying to do this build, we'll know that I did something wrong. BBI Ian? Oh wow, he's in 6th place. Oh look, Catharsis better than Discara confirmed. One thing I remember is that we wanted to always have Sandskimmer Fab start before any salves built, and then for the AS rush you put 1 on RUs, and for the AR rush you put 2 on RUs, right? I'm pretty sure it's not too complicated after that. Although I remember you were doing some interesting things where you would like try and fight the Sandskimmer war at the beginning, and then go in with the Assault Ships later, and that was actually pretty effective, but That's maybe a bit too complicated for just a simple, you know, build order review. I think it still needs an RU worker, but I guess we'll find out. I will go Rails this time. You go AS first. How does that sound? And then we'll flip it. That's true. I think it used to be like 100 and something, right? In vanilla it's 100, but anyway, let us test. So these are the two GVG builds. If you're against an opponent who's like really passive, I think you can get away with other stuff, but at top level, I think these are really just the best things to do. If you think about like game theory, where, you know, yeah, we could both go ref mode first, but if one of us doesn't do it, the other one will lose. This is kind of always like the right choice. I'm making air quotes, you can't see it, but... In other words, ref mode first is just really risky. You shouldn't try that. So Sandskimmer Fab has to come first in this build. After the base runner retires, then we can start building salves. But we really don't want to do that until the base runner retirement has come through. And the reason is because we're trying to get up to Rails as fast as we can. And so we need as many RUs as we can get, but we also need Sandskimmer Fab to finish fast. The other good thing that finishing Sandskimmer Fab fast does for us is it allows us to fight him in the midfield with Sandskimmers. And if he's going for soul chips, we'll probably be faster than him. He needs a rematch though, so we'll pander to his noobness. Were you trying with none on RUs and found out that it was too slow, or what happened? Negative 37. I see. Isn't PA game actually a little bit out of date now? Or are they both the same? Water. Both the same, okay. I also find you can retire the base runner a little bit faster if you drive the carrier toward it like this. Not a huge issue, but you know, every little bit counts when you're optimizing a build, right? So yeah, 2 on RUs, 2 on CUs, retire the base runner, get Sandskimmer Fab first, and then build 2 salvagers. And I don't believe there's any room in this build to get LDMs, so we're just going to go straight into Rails as fast as we can. It costs 250 RUs, which is quite a lot. So in order to do that, we need to have the 2 guys on RUs first. And the base runner retire, obviously. You might need 2 on RU for... No, you should only need 1. Once Assault Ship Fab is done, you should have like 20 drop off, and then you do a quick drop of 3, and you should be ready to go. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's how it works. Anyway, for my build though, I want to attack him early with Sandskimmers here. If I can do that, I gain myself a little bit of space. And obviously railguns really want to have space. You see, I should be winning the Sandskimmer fight just like a little bit here. Not by much, but a little bit. Of course, we have to be aware that assault ships might be coming out at any moment, and at that point we have to back away pretty quick. But we do a little bit of quick drop to get our rails up, and now we have rail fab on the way. Now we still need to keep building Sandskimmers though. But the fact that we're holding them off at about the midfield is really good for us. Fleet Cap 45 is going to have to come out at some point, so I like to get it early. Because you know me, I always get fleet capped. That's like the meme, you know? But now he's starting to kind of match Sandskimmer numbers with us, and more importantly, an assault ship is probably on the way in just a moment. So at this point, we start needing to play defensively. But Railfab is finishing, and instantly we want to build an assault railgun. And this is going to give us a lot of defense against both his sand skimmers and against his assault ships. And at this point, we can start looking at filling up our second base. But we need to make sure we have adequate defense here, because if we don't, you know, things are going to get bad real fast. But yeah, I think I'll start building some LDMs from the carrier now. I'm dead 'cause bad, says A-Game. Of course, as you can see, we're doing a lot of damage to that armored unit. I think I'm actually going to dive in onto it with the sand skimmers here. Because once he goes down, I feel like we probably just win this. Okay, yeah. So we should have this in the bag now. I mean, you never know. Something could go horribly wrong, but I feel like this is probably what a good game looks like in this matchup. I'm gonna start getting ref mode. This is a little bit aggressive since I know he's on my doorstep, obviously, but I feel like I can get away with it. You're just too tired to try hard? Oh man, well maybe you're gonna beat me anyway. I guess I got a little bit too aggressive. Omega lol. We're talking about how dead A-Game is and then he wins. It's fine though, I'll show the assault ship build here in just a moment. Oh my gosh, I really stuffed this up, didn't I? Maybe ref mode was a mistake, eh? Wow. This is how to do the build right. Loses. We do want to keep pressuring on him though, because he's going to back away to his base and then start getting money before too long. So obviously we want to be ahead of the curve. So we also don't want to let him stack up too many assault ships, because he's going to start, you know, getting ready to like wreck the main base. Oh my gosh, he's in range? Who said anything about this? Yeah, ref mode was a huge mistake here. I'm actually not going to tech rail armor though. I'd rather go for one heavy rail and get him up on like the hill or something. And that's going to do a really good job to dislodge him. I might need to get power 1 for this though. Yeah, because he's going to pressure the carrier now, right? So we're going to start teching power 1. We'll put down some det packs here. Lose all of our salvagers because we're really going MLG Pro now. Okay, looks like we finally dislodged him. Okay, so that took some serious doing, but we did finally get him off of our base. I say that because I have this heavy rail up on this ground here. That's going to be big problems for him. He also can't really push on the carrier when I have power 1, so... In fact, we may even kill his PC here if we're really lucky. But we'll have to see about that. Oh my gosh, I'm dying again. Yeah, okay, that was a little bit of an overextend, but you get the idea. If I wasn't such a pleb, this would be working very well. I'm really doing a good job of simulating how easily you can die. Anyway, I think we'll just call it there. Okay. You can definitely see, though, I think, from this build, that the assault ship player is always the aggressor, and the railgun player is the one who kind of wants to defend first. That's kind of an important dynamic here. So I'll go with the assault ships now, and A-Game will try to build railguns to defend. And of course, you also have to recognize you might end up in like a mirror match here, where like we both have built assault ships. And in that case, it's going to come down to who micros better. Or maybe we both built railguns, and then we're probably going to get more of like a macro game. But, you know, it all kind of depends. So to do this right with the assault ships, we want to put 3 on CUs and 1 on RUs. And again, we're going to get Sandskimmer Fab immediately, so I'll show you that when this game starts. Of course, we also retired the base runner. So we go like this. Kind of pull up to get this base runner retire done faster. Only this time, we're only going to make 1 more salvager. I'm going to put him onto the CU patch here. And I know this looks a little bit weird because we're not even going to like fill out our base fully, but we have to do it. This is just like, this is a lot better. I see what A-Game means now. We are actually a little bit behind on assault ship techs. We're just going to mine a couple of RUs here. Just 2 more. Okay. And now we have the money for assault ship tech. And that's pretty much as fast as you can get it. I guess I could have optimized this a little bit more with like some tricky quick drops and stuff, but it started about 29:15, which is very early. Then we're gonna make Sandskimmers from the PC here, because as we saw last game, the railgun player gets a lot of space if you let him have it. So we'd like to stop that by making Sandskimmers off of the PC. Yeah, I had it like just like a second after Skimmer Fab. So it was pretty much immediate. I think maybe the way to do this is to like put 2 on RUs at the beginning and like do a quick drop and then put the 1 guy onto CUs, but that would be really optimized. I feel like you're going to be okay even if you do it this way. So as we can see, he has more Sandskimmers than me, so he can win like a prospective Sandskimmer fight here. And so we're not going to have a good time trying to beat him in that domain. I think it's better that we get the assault ships fast. So 4 Sandskimmers are out, that's probably okay. But the assault ships are on the way now. And obviously, like we always do, we want to get armor 1. That's really going to help us in Sandskimmer battles. Because if you're fighting without armor 1 against Sandskimmers, they can actually really kill you faster than you think they should. He's going to push us back to this hill, but he's not going to be able to push us past here. Now the assault ship comes out. He's getting an alert for it, of course. That's why he backs away so quickly. And then we're going to push on... his base here. But it's important that we also focus on getting some economy set up back at home. If he gets railguns at the proper timing, it's going to be very hard to just kill him like this. So we're kind of going for a bit of a contain here. Oh yeah, we should also be getting Fleet Cap 45. I guess I was a bit late on this. But you know, it wouldn't be Bozo Cow unless he was also getting Fleet Capped, right? So it's sort of fitting. So there's the first railgun. And now what he's doing by holding me up on this hill is really good. I'm not going to be able to just push out to the hill like A-Game had done versus me. In fact, you can see me losing a unit there when I tried it. You know what? This might be the hill that doesn't exist. Yeah, this is a bit unfortunate. On Firebase Krill, there's one hill that doesn't actually exist. Like, it looks real, but it isn't. And he got that spawn, so we're not really able to push at all here. So this is a good hold by the railgun player. Probably at this point we want to start looking at, you know, going back and getting our economy set up. If you like to play with air, this is probably the build for you. If you like to play with rails and honor guard cruisers, you're going to want to do the rail fab one. But at any rate, with proper play from both players, I believe we should get to the mid game in every case. The big thing we have to watch out for is this counterattack. That could be nasty. We really don't want to just lose everything all of a sudden, so it's important that we are ready to defend when he gets to our base. I think he's pulling back because he probably sees these assault ships with his scanner. This might be unwise then to send these two out here, but we're gonna see what happens anyway. These high ground positions are pretty good. There's no scanner here, what the heck? Oh well. These high ground positions are really good for assault ships because it kind of forces the opponent to play in close range. So I'm sort of okay with this. I want to keep making assault ships though off of this PC, because if we get counterattacked now by his rails and skimmers, we definitely don't want to just die to that. And I'm also going to scout out with just one sand skimmer and see what's going on his side of the field. Probably teching armor is not a mistake either. Okay, yeah, there he is. Ah, I can't move my units. We're in range of the assault rails now, which is pretty good for us. And you can see assault rails die really quickly. But we don't want to back away now. Okay. So yeah, the counterattack, like I said, is real, but I think that we've held this one off. Oh, there's another rail. I think we'll make another PC at this point. And now his sand skimmers want to come in and hurt our carrier, so I think power 1 might not be a mistake. Oh man, are we gonna kill this AR? Ugh. That's quite unfortunate. He's kind of backing away though, so I'm gonna cancel power 1. And I think that we have held pretty fine here. Of course, he's going to be on 2 base as well. I'm never going to be like that far ahead off the hold here, but yeah, we're doing pretty much okay. Probably teching to siege is a good idea. Teching to air is also very good. There's a lot of options from this position, I think. I shouldn't really push on him like this. This is probably a mistake. Of course, he's going to want to stop me from getting my next base set up here. So more assault chips is always going to be good. We can also do some poke across the map, maybe. He must have tech dart maneuver. He moved very quickly there. Yeah, he sees us. He kind of wants to fight, though, it looks like. Oh, he's ready for us. Yeah, so I think we're pretty much even here. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure we both have kind of the same things going on. It's kind of tricky here because I really need to get this air, so I can't be building a PC, but that's going to cause me to float a little bit. Sometimes there's just sort of nothing you can do about it. We already have armor 3, it's not like there's really anything else we can spend our money on. Maybe we get power 1, maybe we get a base runner. This is an interesting fight because assault rails are really fragile, but they do tons of damage, as you can see. And he outranges me by a little bit, too, so it's always a little bit tricky there. Okay, well, it's a good thing we got armor 1, eh? Or power 1, eh? He's gonna scout air tech, though, so he knows, so we might as well just launch it now. I don't really see much point in waiting. See Daisy. Okay. Wow, this is a lot of assault ships. Holy goodness. I'm just realizing like how ridiculous this is. He has anti-air already though. So I don't think we're really going to be able to get too much done. Maybe we can just dump some missiles on these sand skimmers here, which is normally not what you want to be doing, but we're not going to get much else done with these interceptors. Now his carrier is beginning to push out as well. This is a bit of an issue because it means that we're not going to be able to extract here. Obviously, assault ships are never going to beat a Gaussian carrier, right? Or really any carrier by that account. Maybe Soban, but... And so this is kind of a really nice thing he's done here to sort of stop us from extracting. And until we get this siege up, we're not really going to be able to deal with that. Uh-oh. Maybe I'm throwing here. I just really want that base runner. Yeah, that was probably not the most wise thing I've ever done, but you know. What you gonna do, right? We may get some serious damage in on his base now, on his eco. I'm also gonna take the range upgrade because it's just important to have that. Oh my gosh. What's happening here? What is this? Oh my. Oh my gosh, yeah, we really need to deal with this. I didn't even notice that was happening. Whoa, what happened to my salvagers? They suddenly died. Oopsie daisy. One thing we certainly have on him here is that he doesn't have any tech really to support this carrier. So if we have more power than him, we might just be able to beat him. Oh man. That siege is dead. Actually, this is becoming somewhat problematic. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is becoming serious problems, actually. Ew. I don't like this none such. No, no, you want to attack the carrier. Uh-oh, those are heavy rails. Yeah, we might lose now. Well, darn. I think probably with some better control, we probably could have won this game still, but it's okay, of course, because it's just testing the build orders, but you get the idea. We will move into the mid-game if we match builds properly. Oh dear. Yeah, he's got heavy rails, so he's gonna win here. It's funny, I'm like showing build orders and then like losing after getting into winning scenarios from all of them. But you get the idea. His economy is higher here because of the amount of time that he spent denying me from like first and second base, or first and third base. So that's the reasoning for that. Okay. Well, that's GVG then, basically. I feel like it's probably only just those two builds that you can do. There's some kind of interesting variation you can do where you make a lot of sand skimmers first. Like, you just try to win the sand skimmer fight with that assault ship push. And that's kind of interesting because it sort of hides the fact that you're making assault ships, too. Your opponent won't really understand that until they come out. But I feel like it's kind of risky. A-Game was doing it to some interesting success earlier, but one thing's for sure, though, I clearly need to practice this this matchup, because I'm the guy who goes for railguns usually, and I'm kind of losing with them, so I need to definitely, you know, be a bit more careful about not losing these rails. Probably going for ref mode there was a big mistake. Well, I don't know if there's really anything else to show right now. If anyone has any questions, I can answer that, but we might be about finished. So, yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask him. I'm open. Well, it's interesting because we have a lot of people viewing, but yeah. I guess no one's really got any questions right now. I think we'll probably call it there then. Thanks everyone who tuned in. Jaraci Cup 5 goes live tonight. In fact, maybe I should just seed it right now. I don't think anyone else is going to sign in. Yes, I think I will post this on YouTube. What do you say then? Should I just go ahead and seed Jaraci Cup 5 right now? It's up to you, A-Game, for some reason. 20 players. Oh, man. This is going to be pretty freaking sick. Actually, wait, you know what I should do? I should check to see if... I should check to see if everyone has, like, checked in. Yeah, but we could always start it early. Let me check the reactions here. If they haven't, I'll do another ping and then we'll wait for those people to respond. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like people have checked in just yet. Anyone who, like, signs in after I start the check-in, I just check them in automatically. So... Okay, I think I'll do that. Well, expect the seeding video tonight then. I guess I'll download this and then put it onto YouTube right now. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, I guess. Hopefully you learned some things. And that will be the end. Goodbye.